Hey everyone, just hope you just coming to hang out with everyone tonight. Hope there's a few people out there who want to hang out with me today. Just let me post a link if you are out there, if you are online and you want to come in and have a chat in the hangout. There is a link. I'm just posting in the chat right now. You can come join the hangout. Just click on that link, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube, and you come in, join the chat, and we are open for business. um, the numbers vary for how many people are watching on an on a basis. So we always have room for someone to come in and talk to us. It kind of starts out a bit slow, but it does build up. Anyone out there that want to come in and have a chat and talk about what we do, like our maker stuff the stuff that we produce and make and print, CNC, laser, 3D printing, whatever. No? Okay. Well, I'm here. Um, I've had a busy day. I've been recording. Oh, there's Matt. Let me include Matt. One moment.
Yeah,
Hey, Matt, how are you?
yeah, I'm okay. How are you? Can you hear me?
Good. Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay, good.
You've been busy?
Uh, yeah, I'm pretty busy. Have a new project, kind of going over to a different project. So,
What project are you working on?
I'm working right now on the changes, the charity project, um, here where I live. It has something to do with mental health,
Okay.
and well, it's for the book club, and they want to have a trophy, and I'm well known for my lithophane, so I basically said, I don't do really objects, and there's a lot of waste with what comes with that object, and I said, with lithophane, I almost have no waste over, and then I kind of like over a slow period of time convinced them to change it over. So
What you should do is somewhere in the lithophane image, you should get a picture of a toilet roll and hide it somewhere, and someone has to find it, and whoever finds it wins it.
uh,
With this year being the great toilet rolls shortage of 2020,
uh,
that would be a kind of cool thing to print a lithophane, but have what they call an Easter egg, a hidden Easter egg, which would be the toilet roll buried somewhere, hidden somewhere in the image, and someone has to find something in the image related to 2020.
that would be an idea.
Yeah, that way
And I
that's
actually,
how. Go on.
I actually thought about what they used to use the coding for when they write in pigeon messages in the First World War, Second World War. They used to write on like little tiny piece of paper for the pigeon to carry, like
Yeah.
what location they are, what they're gonna do, and what the enemy strength it is. But it's all written in code. Well,
Hmm.
I can write that type of code, and I thought about a little picture with just type of code like that, and people have to undo it,
Translate it.
and yeah, and basically it's a certain key number what you have to find, and once you have the key number, you can orientate the letters or numbers into a certain space, and
Go to better
then you
screen.
can read the message.
Yeah, that would work. You saw my Mandalorian that I published, the picture
Oh,
I
looks really
published.
nice. Looks really
It looks
nice.
really good.
Oh yeah, nice.
Really nice detail. I mean, it's no
Soft.
supports, no supports, perfect
Oh.
print. And then I've also done
First try, perfect print. Oh,
that's the first try of the Mandalorian ever, first figurine. And I also did a Baby Yoda.
all right. Yeah, yeah, that's nice.
Now, and I also made a base
Okay.
with the Mandalorian logo, one of the logos in it, and I filled it. I sprayed it because it wasn't the perfect. The surface was good, but I wanted it smooth because I wanted it 100% shiny. I wanted no layer lines, so I've did some filler primer and I've sanded it, and it's perfectly smooth now. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm going to fill in here as silver and spray the rest of it black. So it'll be black with a silver logo, and then I will glue on the Mandalorian with Baby Yoda.
That's cool. That's actually cool.
So they'll stand out
Like,
against the black background.
all right.
So,
That's really good.
and I normally don't do figurines like this. I normally don't do this type
I
of
don't do
stuff.
it either, and I'm just starting out with all the figurines, and
This is my first one, and the prints were.
nice.
You can see the
I think
shine
it's
off the
really nice.
tape,
Yeah, I can see it. It's. I mean,
and it's
I would
even
be
the
impressed if
helmet.
I would do that.
Even the helmet top is
How does the bottom look like? The bum, area.
oh no, perfect. Nothing.
All right. Cool.
Everything is perfect. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better print. It was the first time printing a figures, but I normally have well dialed in prints anyway. But this came out really nice. Um, so I'm going to leave him silver and Baby Yoda silver, and but I'm going to paint this part so they
Okay.
stand out on the dark surface with the silver logo because that's indented.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'm going to paint that silver, the indented part silver, and then I will add these to it. So then the rest will be black. So the silver stands out on the black.
I'm kind of jealous
Well, it came
of
out
your
really
work.
nice. I
I know.
was I was pleasantly surprised that it came out that nice. And as I said,
Nice.
for a first figurine print I've ever done, I normally don't do figurines. I normally print functional parts, or yeah, that's a really nice. That looks really good.
Actually, I'm not really happy with that because the fingers are
Well,
kind of like,
for the fingers,
yeah,
do you have a resin printer?
no,
If you had a
sadly not.
resin, I would do something like that. I would probably do it in a resin.
No.
Um, so whoever's out there watching, if you want to come in and join the conversation, I have it already in chat, but just in case you don't see it, I'm pasting in the link again. You can click on that link and come join us. We're just talking about some of the prints that we've done recently. Um,
Um,
so click on that link and come in and join the conversation. It is a hangout. It is open for. I can have up to 10 people in the conversation. So please feel free to join us. That might be Jerry. I don't know. Jerry often joins my from 3D printing and painting. He often joins my conversation. I join his.
or the one from
Um,
Las Vegas, right?
yeah, Jerry's from
Yeah,
Vegas. Yeah,
yeah, he's a nice guy.
yeah,
Like,
and he does some really nice prints. He's my bad influence, so he's the reason why I
oh,
started um, doing characters like that. I've never done a character before, and it's Jerry's a bad influence on me.
no, no.
Well, because I do mostly uh, engineering. Will, you're not the only one because there's somebody else in conversation with me. So you're willing to, if you're willing to join, you can click on that link and come in and join the conversation. Just before you do join, though, make sure you mute your Facebook before you click on the link because we don't want to have uh, double the audio, which will create an awful lot of feedback. So
Yeah.
please do come in and join. I know Will from some of the other forums. I haven't spoken with him, but we've exchanged messages and so on in some of the other forums. So I know him from out there. But yeah, so I've been doing that, and I spent my day. Okay, you creating feedback?
Yeah, it's gone now. Sorry. I was
It's
trying to
okay.
avoid it. I'm gonna share your link with my. So,
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, of course. The more you share, the better. The more we might get it. People might turn up here. But I spent my whole day today recording videos. Um, So I've done a couple of videos that I've yet to edit, but I'm going to post them out in the next couple of days. I'll probably spend a bit of time tomorrow editing, even though it's Thanksgiving here in the States. I'll spend a little
Yeah.
bit of time tomorrow doing some editing, and over the
How big
weekend
is
to get
Egypt?
those.
That's my question.
Well, see, normally we have people over, and we don't have people coming over this year because of COVID. So the house is going to be fairly quiet. There's only four of us.
Do you have
So,
a chicken?
well, we're not having the chicken, but we would probably will do we would do have a turkey, but it's a smaller turkey. I normally do a 20 pounder, 15 to 20 pound
Wow.
turkey, because we have
You're
people
lucky.
come over, but
Here
not
in
this year.
England, you're happy when you have a 10 pounder. You know, I mean,
Oh
20
yeah,
pounder
no,
you can get two, but they're really expensive.
yeah, well, no, they're not that expensive here, but because of the year that it is, um, we haven't had we're not having people over for this year,
Yeah, I understand.
and so
I
it's
didn't know
just
how
an
my trip
unusual
is
year.
gonna go. So
Yeah, we're the same. It'd just be whoever's in the house. There'll be nobody else joining us because of COVID. We're not gonna take that risk.
how many
But
people live with you?
there's four in the house:
Oh,
my wife, my son, and my daughter.
okay.
So so that's what
At
we'll
least you're
have
not alone.
tomorrow. That's true. And you're away. You're away from your homeland, and you're in the UK, so it's kind of harder.
Uh, Not really. I have family here in the UK. I mean, my mom is here, my sister's here, my brother's here, and their family is here. So my nephews, etc. Thought okay, but I didn't really hug them or see them for the past 9 months. So it's like, no,
Yeah, it's hard.
uh,
I, well, yeah, I haven't. I rarely go out at all. I mean, at all.
I'm a hermit.
Um, I'm close enough to it. Like going out for me is going to the hardware store to get something to bring it home to do
Exactly.
work. Like you'll see in my videos that I have next that I'll be publishing this weekend or whatever. I have a few videos I'm going to be putting out on YouTube. Um, I'm trying to do introduction videos to 3D printing, the basics,
Hmm.
and to give people advice on what to look for when they're buying a printer and stuff like this. I go over if I explain some of the main components of a printer in a video, because a lot of people come on the forums asking questions and they don't know the answers to these. They don't know the proper names for these for an idler or a stepper motor or a stepper controllers or which axis is which or where what an end stop is and all this kind of stuff, right? You do know the axis. Don't
Yeah,
give me that.
I know what an end stop is, etc. But a few other things, I'm like a sieve sometimes. I can take names in and then it pops out again, and it takes me around about 10 times before I get it.
Well, I'm
I
like that with
hate it.
names. I'm like that with
Yeah,
names. I'm
same.
really bad with people's names. Like
Me too.
um, I could meet somebody, and I'll remember your face forever. But
Yeah.
if I meet you, and then 30 minutes later I come back by and I come by the same place, and I see you again, I won't know your name. Or even within 10 or 15 minutes, I'll forget your name because to me, what you do in my mind, what you do is more important to my mind than your name,
Yeah.
right? And
Same.
how the impression you've made on me. So I remember faces. I'm really bad with names. Um, I I used to work for Dell Computers for many years ago, long time
Yeah.
ago, and the head of human resources in Dell Computers, he'd meet you once, the director of HR. He'd come down to walking the floor. Dell had over 5,000 people working for them, right?
Wow.
In where I worked. He'd walk the floor. He'd see somebody he never knew and never came across before, so he'd go say hi. And then when he goes say hi, he'll ask us a few questions like who you are, where you're from, do you have a family, how many kids you have, and this type of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
You wouldn't see him for a month. A month later, he'd walk by and he'd greet you by your first name, and he'll ask about your kids and your kids' names and your wife's names, and he'll call them all by name. He never forgot people.
Identical memory, I think they call it.
I have no clue, but he could just like that. People's names was like breathing to him, remembering details like that. And he was a head of HR, which made him really good at what he did. Um, but me, I have to meet you and hear your name multiple times. I have to associate you with something else that helps me remember what your name is. I'm.
Yeah.
That's how bad
Like
my.
a
Uh,
catchphrase in your head.
well, I try and link the name to something. Like.
Like how you remember me?
Well, I know you
That's
because you're Matt.
interesting.
Because in my
Yeah.
mind, you're Matt the Lithuanian King,
All right. Wow.
right?
Lithuanian king.
Because
Well,
you
I
do
do
so
not
many
remember kings.
Lithuanians, and you
I
do
know.
so many Lithuanians, and they're fantastic. I associate your name with what you do, and it makes it easier to
Yeah.
remember. If I don't do an association, if I don't find an association, I won't make the linkage, and I won't remember your name. But it's different as well because we started talking online about 3D printing and stuff. That's how we
Yeah.
met, and then I sort of saw your name every single day, right?
All
But
right.
then that's different. That helps. But when I don't see having something that reminds me or an association, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm really,
Uh,
really, really bad at it.
for me, luckily everybody has name tags, so I can look at the name tag and then remember them, and that
Where in
kind of
work?
helps me to. Yeah, that too. Even though at work, I used to work. I, I used to have a little bit odd jobs here and there at different warehouses, and
Hmm.
they mostly didn't have name tags. But when I started working in a sandwich shop or something like that, they had name tags, etc., and that made it easy for me. And
Yeah,
um,
I that would help me too. I've done warehouse work. I've worked at night shift. I've loaded trucks like you have. Hauling pallets in and out of trucks and wrapping pallets, getting to get them ready for shipment. I've done all that because I worked in various jobs when I was younger. Before I am where I am. I've
yeah,
had I worked construction at one point for for some time. I worked
yeah,
construction for a while, and the worst part of it is the concrete gang. I work concrete gang. That's the
yeah,
hardest job in construction. You know when the truck comes along and pours the concrete in for
yeah.
yeah for
It's hot.
well, I was one of the guys in there with the boots up to your
I can
knees.
hear my headset just went off.
Can you hear me?
Hold on a second. Now it's back on.
Okay. Um, I was one of these guys with the boots up to my knees, standing shin deep in concrete with a shovel in your hand as it gets pumped out of the truck, spreading it out, and then staying there till all hours of the night to level it and stuff. I worked. That's hard in the back. I did that type of work in the
That's how
past.
concrete is self-leveling.
No,
Most of no.
no, 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 no. There's nothing at all self-leveling about concrete. Concrete
I
will
know that
stay
they
as a
use
heat.
vibrators to get the bubbles out, but
That's not only to get the bubbles, but it's also to make it settle better together. But yes, but that doesn't self-level. You have to manually level that, and then depending on the
oh, that's
surface, like
what the device what they pull over it.
yeah, it's a power float you're referring to. But not all. You don't always use a power float. I've like if you're leveling a sidewalk or something like that, you don't use a power float because you don't want it smooth. You use a screed, which is a level like a piece of wood or something or metal
Mm-hmm.
screed, and you tamp down the concrete, and then you have to slide it along and backfill and come back over and over and over again to get it level.
Yeah.
If you're doing a smooth floor like a factory floor or a loading dock, then you probably power screed it. But generally, you don't. It depends on the surface. Like if you're doing the floor of a warehouse, you power screed the floor of a warehouse, and that's a lot of work. That's I've done a warehouse, the concrete floor of a warehouse. It was 2.5 weeks work because you can't do it in one go. You have to do it in sections, and it's 2.5 weeks work pouring it and leveling it, and you have to do it in sections. And then by the time you
So
get one whole
12 hour
section
shift,
done, you can. Hmm?
12-hour shift, and then the next gang would take over.
No, 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 no. You can't do that because you can't. You have to let the previous stuff in certain areas set to allow for some shrinkage before you pour the next set. Because if you don't, you're going to end up with larger gaps. Because as the cement sets, it contracts a little bit,
Yeah, yeah.
and you end up with
Also
larger
cooling
gaps between
down.
them. Hmm?
I mean, it's cooling down. I mean, the Hoover Dam itself is cooling down still today in
Yeah. Well, it
America.
takes about 100 years for concrete to really harden. It's constantly
Wow.
cooling. It creates its own. It cement and water mixed together with the gravel and so on to make concrete. It creates an exothermic reaction, so it gives off heat. Um, but it only works that in certain temperatures. If it's freezing cold, you can't pour concrete because it will like the water in the concrete will freeze and stop
Mm.
the reaction happening, so it won't really harden properly. You can only
South
do it in
Africa
certain
is a better
temperature
place
ranges.
for concrete.
Yeah, there's only certain temperature ranges you can do it in.
No, doesn't.
So I think G Tech has a stream. Is it tomorrow night or tomorrow the night after?
Friday mostly.
And JG Maker has one tomorrow night,
Okay.
and I think Soval has one tomorrow night as well.
Oh wow.
They're doing giveaways.
All
Um,
three of
I
them. Oh yeah, Black Friday, isn't it?
well, I don't know what's happening with G Tech. I know JG Maker are giving away some stuff. I know Soval I have a giveaway for their Artist D. Or no, Soval has a giveaway for their new SVO3 they're just about ready to release. It's about to be released any moment. And it's basically as an SVO1, but a big version of it. It's a 350 by 350 by 400 version of an SVO1. It's a direct drive, but it's a large, and it's got a BL touch. Um, JG Maker, they're giving away components, I believe. I don't think they're giving away printers. Um, and I'm not sure what GTech are doing, but they are all doing stuff for this weekend, and they're all offering sales this weekend. JG Maker has sales right now up to $150 off a price of a
I
printer.
know Tech is giving away some filament rolls right now
Whom?
for a
GTech?
certain. Yeah, one filament roll it is. Um I don't know if you see my project. Recycle your old filament rolls.
Yes, I did see that. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, they're trying to get more people to recycle their old filament rolls, and of course, people throw their project, and whoever throws the best project at a filament roll.
Oh, so you get a free spool of filament.
Uh, yeah. But
Good. I think they
just for
should
the
start putting.
idea.
I think they should be spooling filament onto the cardboard spools because that's biodegradable.
Yes. I, but the
I think
problem
that's
is
the.
it can unwind unless you use those. Hold on a second. What's it called? The little plastic tag. You know. That's wrap
No,
basically
no,
like
no, no,
a plastic.
no. Well, there's two things that should be done. Two options.
Okay.
One, filament spools should be made so they can be taken apart in two pieces and then clipped
Yeah.
back together again and locked into place. That way, then you can actually get an empty spool, or get a spool with no spool, no, or you get a roll of filament with no spool, and then you can open up your filament spool, put this in, and then lock it together again, and then now your filament goes into a spool, right? That way, then you can reuse the same spool over and over and over again.
Yeah. I've seen those.
But to do that, they need to standardize on the center. Hey, Jerry, do you want to come join us? 1 second, let me post up the link for you. There you go. Come in and and join the conversation.
I do think that should standardize a lot of things in the industry, especially with filament.
Yeah.
I think that all the filament rolls be all the same size, doesn't matter what company it is.
Oh, yeah, and they're not. I've seen some people on the GTech. So whoever's out there online right now, I'm watching. If you want to join the stream, I just posted a link just now on chat. It's a StreamYard link. You can click on that StreamYard link, and it'll bring you into to join the conversation. If you want to come in and join us. If not, you can ask questions. Um, And Jerry said, and then remove the Velcro straps. I'm not sure what Velcro straps you're talking about, but if you're talking about the Velcro straps around a filament spool or a roll of filament without a spool, then yes. But come in and join us, Jerry, and have a chat. Unless you're just happy watching us on a big screen TV, like you did like you've done before. Um, but yeah, I think either a spool, if they all agreed on a center diameter of a spool, and then they supplied filament with the center diameter, not on a spool, but coiled with a center diameter in a set size. So you could actually have a filament, a spool that is two halves, and you
Yeah,
could push it. You could get your O1, put it onto it, lock them in place, cut off the zip ties or the Velcro straps or whatever else they come with, and now your filament is on a spool. Or put them on cardboard, so the cardboard is then biodegradable.
yeah. Also, what I think what they should do is have some kind of filament belt. I mean, they have them already, but they're still fiddlery. Uh, Maybe have some kind of electronic one where they're basically a little bit overlap, and then you have like the lid what goes on top, you know, and then it presses them together and melts the plastic together, so you have a perfect one strain, and then
You can buy
just
that.
yeah.
You can buy those
I was
today.
looking everywhere. I
No,
was
they
looking
have them on.
everywhere
They
for them.
they have them on. You can buy a unit to join two filament ends together. Or I've done it with a bit of PTFE. Now I don't use a standard PTFE that comes with a printer because it's normally a larger bore inside. I use what I do is I use, what's it called, um, a heat shrink for electrical components,
Okay.
and I cut the filament at 45 degrees. You can put them into the heat shrink, and so the two 45 degrees merge, right?
Yeah.
And then hold down the outside with Kapton tape and heat it with a heat gun so it starts to melt the filament inside the shrink wrap, but the shrink wrap then closes and shrinks around it so it doesn't melt and expand. And then afterwards you cut off the heat shrink. You can do that, but you can buy a unit out there. There are stuff out there. They're not expensive, a couple of bucks, that actually will join two spools of filament together into one.
Yeah.
Um,
Mine have to
now,
use a lighter.
yeah, they do use a lighter. Yeah, they use a lighting a heater element like that, like a lighter, but they work. Uh, Generally, though, I I don't use them, but I've joined spools in myself in the past. It works. Um, I know other people who use a small strip of PTFE tubing, and they put the two ends of the filament into the PTFE tubing, heat the PTFE tubing, and push the ends together so they actually merge, and then pull them out one end, and then use a knife to pare it down a little bit to make them even. But the way I do it with the heat shrink, you don't have to pare it down afterwards. But there are ways of doing it. It's just messy sometimes. Um, but or your other option is to go and use something like an electronic way of doing it is the pallet. The pallet is $700, but you can have a palette is nice if you want to do multiple colors. So with a palette, basically what happens is you have four colors coming into the palette, four
Yeah.
separate colors, and then one Bowden tube coming out of the palette to your printer. And once you have, and it's based on the distance from your nozzle to the palette. You have to measure that distance precisely. And you obviously have to tweak it to get it exactly right. But based on that, what it does is the palette, knowing what G code is coming up and what stage the print is at, and how much filament has gone down through the tube and has been extruded, it will then cut. It will then cut your incoming feed of filament, right? That's going down the tube. It'll cut it inside in the palette, and then bring over one of the new colors and join them inside the palette. And so by the time it gets to the nozzle, it just keeps printing. Your printer just keeps printing like it's one color, but the palette actually introduces the new color just at the right time. as part of your print. But it's $700 or more. So the palette is really good, but it's pricey.
Yeah.
But if you
But
want to
which
do
color
if
lithophane?
you want to do, sorry?
Which lithophane? That's what I'm asking. Lithophane. I want to make a true lithophane color. That's my ultimate goal. Have a color, but not black and white.
Well, there is software that's on Kickstarter right now that allows you to go in and color um, an image or color
Right
a
now.
part. Well, no, wait for a second.
Yeah.
It's what you want. If you color in the software, if you bring in your part, let's say you created the lithophane, you import the STL into this software,
Yeah.
you can color the areas you want in different colors. And then when you bring it into your slicer, it comes in as separate components like it would for a normal, like a 2-color or 3-color print. You'd have this model would be all of only one color. Model 2 would be all of only the other color. Model 3 would be all of the only other color of color 3. And then you merge them into one, and then you assign each color to an extruder. So color 1 goes to extruder 1. Color 2 would go to extruder 2. If you had a 3 extruder printer, like some of the A10, what is the Creality printer that has 3 colors?
True. I
They
just
have
know of
not Creality, sorry, not Creality.
the
The G-Check that has
yeah,
multiple
G-Check
extruders. Yeah, and
A30T and the A20T.
yeah, so those ones you could actually assign different colors to the different extruders, and what it would do is when it reaches a certain point, and if it printed, let's say it prints white, and then it goes up to a certain point, and it says, oh, I need to introduce red here, right? So it prints white, all the white parts, and then it'll switch over to extruder 2, do a purge tower, go to extruder 2, and extruder 2 will print in red, and then it'll go off, and then let's say extruder 3 is blue. The extruder 3 will then go, it'll do a purge tower after red, and then introduce the blues when it needs to, only when needed on the different layers, which is how a multiple extruder or multiple nozzle printer works today. So you assign the color to the nozzle based on the color going into that, from that extruder into that nozzle, and it will actually work through that and actually build a multicolored um, what's it called, lithophane for you. It would actually do it. Now, the other thing you have to consider is there is other software out there, which is a blending software. So if you had a blending print head that blends different colors, like it'll take yellow and green and make other colors and stuff like that, right? Like a mixing head, you could. There are mixing heads out there that can take 3 different color filaments. And if you had it,
Main basic colors,
sorry.
the main basic colors like what you have in a regular printer, you can put in, and in
Yeah.
Siri you should be able to get any color out that you want.
And there is software out there that will actually generate the G code for of the right amount of each extruder to generate the right colors. There is software out there that'll do that, and then that's what you send to the printer, and you put in having 3 colors coming in, but the image it creates could be 10 different colors. It would actually create a full 3 with something like that. If you could, but you'd first have to divide the part up to do so.
That sounds interesting. And my thinking about is if you have the FTL file and you have the original picture in color, maybe you can somehow scan both of them in at the same time, and they can overlap each other. So the computer knows, this color belongs to that location, and that color belongs to that location. I think that would maybe be better.
There
But
is
that belongs to AI, I think.
there is color lithophanes. You can create color lithophanes today, but what it does is it prints the lithophane in one color, normally white, like you do today, but it creates a weird colored print that you print on your printer, and a color printer, and you cut it to the right size, and you have your lithophane, and then you put this behind the lithophane, so the light shines through the colors, and you get a properly colored image in your lithophane. So that you can do that today, But if to actually do it in filament, it would require either mixing the image based on its color, um, or dividing it up and doing a hard color separation. Like how many? Let's say you had a palette, maybe even one or two palettes. Like say you
That
say you had
was,
two palettes. You palette one here and you palette two here, and you had four colors going into palette one, four different colors into palette two, and then the palette was actually controlling what hits your single nozzle or your two nozzles, because you could use a palette with nozzle A for like on an IDEX printer, and a palette with nozzle B on an IDEX printer. That could actually give you 8 colors going into your nozzle. And you
yeah,
can and you can actually blend them that way, or not blend them, but print with each individual color to create a colored interface. So there are ways of doing it. It just means getting creative.
yeah, it is. This and a lot of different versions of how to make one.
Yeah. So what? Just one second. Whoever's out there, guys. I know Jerry's out there watching, but there's some. Oh, somebody just left. Maybe I was going to invite him in to have a conversation with us, but apparently they're shy. Um, Jerry is pottering around his workshop at home in his hobby room, so he's not coming in to join us while he's listening in while we're chatting, because but he has a honey-do list to do, tidy up.
Our wife
All
giving
right,
her the
Jerry?
stuff to.
Yeah. You know what a honey-do list is, don't you? Honey do this and honey do that.
I imagine. Yeah, yeah, exactly. My wife, girlfriend, would do that. Say
Yeah.
that to me, and you have to do it. I
Yeah.
call it earning brownie points. So
That works. Yes, it is earning brownie points. You are correct. We all have to earn our brownie points. So, but yeah, so Jerry's doing stuff around his hobby room. He's probably busy printing parts, and um, I know he has a print he's making for somebody else. He's doing a John Wayne print for somebody else that he's done.
oh,
Have you seen his John Wayne print?
no, not exactly, but I hear
Oh.
of it. I think I know he's a fan himself. I think from John Wayne, isn't he?
Well, Jerry is busy on his honey-do list, and even for himself, it still has to be done. But yeah, so but his John Wayne print looks fantastic. He painted it. I think he painted it gold, and then he put on some black paint and then rubbed it off, so it gave it a brassy, coppery finish.
Right.
And it looks really, really good. It looks like a statue. It looks fantastic. So I know he was asked to do one for somebody else.
Yeah. I done a similar thing with one of my family members.
Hmm.
She wanted for herself, so my dad basically said, "Well, send it over, and and she would be really happy." And I said, offered it to her, she wanted to buy it off me, and I said, "No, no, don't worry about it. You can have it." And she was like, "No, no, I can't take it then." And so my dad found out about it, and well, he actually got it from me, and now he's giving it to her for Christmas. So at
Hmm.
least she will be happy. But he's a big
So,
Yoda fan.
oh, okay. Well, Jerry said he
So
used a gloss black and then he used rub and buff on it to give it the copper, the metallic-y, reflective effect, it looks really good. You should actually go check out 3D printing and painting for his group, because he
yeah,
posted
I
pictures
wanted
there.
to. Can he send me a link into our link so I can just click on it? Or you have
Let me
it
see
on
if
your
I can
side?
find it. Hold on a second, see if I can find it.
Because I was looking for it because my Facebook sometimes doesn't work at all. I don't know why. I'm receiving sometimes like 100 messages in an hour, and some messages don't even show up till days later. I don't know why. So it's odd.
The answer to that question, Jerry, is no. Um, just for anybody who's not a part of Jerry's group, I have my own group, but I want to advertise Jerry's as well because I hang out with Jerry a lot on his posts and so on. So Jerry, no, I do not have one in the mail, but they just posted a new code today with $50 off for Thanksgiving. Um, so I don't know. I don't know the answer whether or not there will be one, but I'm just saying they did post a new posting today for $50 off the K40 CO2 printers for the desktop printers. So I'm just answering a question from Jerry. So yeah, and also guys, if you're out there, I have a group. It's a new group. It's called 3D Printing Help Desk. If you're not a member already, I don't have any new member requests right now. Nope. But there is a new group they're called 3D Printing Help Desk. Just let me get you the URL for that. You can actually come in and join my group if you wish to. As it is a new group, but you get to hang out with me and people like Matt and so on, and we do a lot of work, a lot of 3D printing. You get some heads up on some stuff. There will be some stuff that I'll be doing coming up that will be only for group members. I'm waiting on some stuff to be delivered, Matt. I'm planning on offering some giveaways in the group. I don't have much right now, but I know I have a Creality Wi-Fi box that's eventually going to make its way over here. They promised me one, but it takes forever to get stuff shipped out of China. I'm probably going to use that as a giveaway. Whoever's online, yeah, whoever's out there online looking in, if you want to come have a conversation with us, please do. I'm going to post the link into the chat. Just 1 second. I want to make sure I post a link into the chat there. You can come click on that link and come join the conversation. The only thing we ever ask is to keep the conversation civil. But other than that, yeah, I prefer it. I've been on some hangouts where every second word is F this and F that. I don't see a point in that personally.
I don't see that.
Yeah,
it's just rude.
Well, it's not only that. It's unnecessary. I think you can have conversations without it. Like people let the word slip. It happens. Fine. Yes. But when the whole stream is if that type of conversation, I think it's kind of pointless. We should be.
If I let something slip, it will be more like bloody,
Well, that's fine. Yeah, that's different, right? And even then, like I think this is going to be publicly on. This is all public content, and you want it open so that anybody can watch it and without any issues. And I'd rather have content. I try to keep my content clean because when people are out there and having conversations, and there's younger people like in the early teens. Yeah, when there's people in their early teens who spend, like my son is 14 and he spends a lot of time on YouTube, and there's way too much questionable content out there. But I'd rather keep my content that is open that anybody can watch and anybody can use and learn from, rather than be limiting it to just adults only. Because let's be honest, we've seen streams and so on where conversation was far from teen or young teen friendly, so I'd rather keep it more universally available, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I saw a show not too long ago. You might have seen that show too, and that was a little bit weird, I thought.
Which show? Are you referring to the one with a special type of printer?
No. Somebody put a sign up and put another sign up, and more like Coyote and Roadrunner,
Yeah, but there was nothing wrong on that. But his video link was terrible. His audio and video was terrible. Now I have to go back to this, talking about using unnecessary language, right?
Yeah.
I'm I've seen a couple of live streamers, and normally online the person is some of these people are really, they're very clean and so on online, but I saw one. Did you see the Creality live stream about to go live with a Kickstarter for the printer mill?
I heard about it. I mean, she just went off like a bomb and stormed out, I guess.
Jerry, your request is pending to join my group. Okay, Jerry, let me fix that. I'm sorry. Yeah, you saw that live stream? Like
No,
that
I didn't see
was,
it. I heard it. I heard of you guys and other people, and I didn't watch the
oh
video yet because
man,
I'm quite a bit busy. And
I've never seen content like it. I was watching the stream and I was saying to myself, like, why don't I see your name in there? Pending. I'm just looking for you, Jerry. Just one second. I'm sorry. I'm trying to add Jerry into the group. And I'm looking for his request. And let me go back in there again. It might need me to refresh that. Member request. There we are. Okay, Jerry. I've added you in. But yeah, that live stream was, she basically let rip at Creality. I mean, she tore them a new one, and she didn't hold her tongue one bit. I mean, like, she was there to
fire.
promote the product, and it was vicious. I mean, she dropped more f bombs than you could imagine in 5 minutes than I've seen on most um, uh, 18 plus movies in a space of 5 minutes. I mean, she just let a string of them go, and it was kind of interesting watching. Now, I don't watch a lot of her streams. I've seen some of her stuff. I'm not. There's other people I watch more, that their streams more, and I don't mind if somebody just does that in their own stream. But on a stream for the company that you're there to, that are streaming out to thousands of people, because there was about 3 or 4 thousand people watching that stream, and man, she let rip at those guys. Like, that's the type of conversation you have in private with someone. It's not the type of conversation you have out in the public forum, out on the live stream. It is what it is. It was her decision. Um, Part of me thinks it would probably hurt her image somewhat. Other parts of me think maybe not. But
No,
maybe
mostly
not
turns out the
everybody
other
picked
way.
it. Well, maybe not everybody picked up on it. Nobody commented about it, about what she was saying during the stream. Um,
But
and
was she not speaking in her own language?
she was speaking in English, but everybody on the stream with her were all English. We all could all speak English.
No.
Um, you should go back and watch it. It's actually, it starts out nice, and then it turns not so nice, and then later on she kind of leaves, kind of unexpectedly, in the middle of it, and I thought that she might have been asked to leave, and then she came back again for a few minutes later on, near the end of the stream, and just before the stream wrapped up, she left her bags and stuff right by the camera, right in front of the camera, and she looked like she was not in the best moods when she picked up her stuff from in front of the camera, and she was storming. It kind of looked like she was storming out. Now, it could be just my interpretation of it, but I think she was told to stop, and she was chastised a little bit for. That's my impression, and my impression and $5 will get you really bad coffee at Starbucks or somewhere, right? That's how much my impression really is worth. But I think she was chastised a little bit off camera for what she said by Creality Management. And she may have hurt her position with them somewhat. It's possible. I do not know. I haven't seen any follow-up conversation on it. But that's the way it looked to me. Um, like it's nice that she gets all these new cool printers. She gets all the Creality printers because she's in the same area as them, and she streams all about printers. And it's primarily Creality because she seems to be like she's really in bed with Creality, right? As a streamer, but I've seen other people who are really well in with Creality, and they don't behave and they don't speak about product in that way, and they're not on their live streams, but even on their own streams, they don't. Like, Chep, Chep Hollabach in from Filament Friday.
No.
You don't
Well,
know him?
names I've probably seen him, but names,
Okay.
they go in and go out names for me. So
Yeah. Well, Chep is a big streamer, and most of his streams are based on the Ender 3. I mean,
okay,
the Ender 3 is one of the biggest sellers for Creality, and Chep, all of his streams is about, well, the vast majority of his streams is about doing stuff for Ender 3, right? Such as profiles, like Cura profiles for the Ender 3,
yeah,
upgrades for the Ender 3. He um, doing bed mesh leveling on the Ender 3. He does an awful lot. It's mostly Ender 3 stuff that Chep does. And the Chuck is 20 minutes drive or 30 minutes drive away from where I live. He's living 30 minutes away from me, Chuck does, here in Michigan. I didn't know that. Once I was speaking to him about something else. Sorry, I just dropped something. But once I was speaking with him about something else, and I got his through email, and I found out he actually lived about a half an hour away from where I live. So he's a neighbor pretty much, but he's in the next town. You can't hear me?
yeah, it just came back again. I don't know.
Oh,
I think I have to get some new headsets. I mean, I had this headset maybe 9 months now, and I had right before lockdown, and uh, it is good. I have another headset, but I have to return it, and I still have a good 2 years warranty on it, and hopefully I can get a new one, the same exact one, because I kind of like them, because I can hook
yeah.
them up over Wi-Fi, over to anything, and then also over Bluetooth to my phone,
Oh,
so I
nice.
can have multiple devices hooked up to one headset.
Yeah, I can do two to mine that I have here.
Yeah,
I can have my phone and my laptop.
yeah,
Um,
me too.
so to do laptop, I have to have a dongle in the laptop that links it. But I can Bluetooth to my cell phone as well, so I can actually take and receive calls on
Yeah,
this, as well as have computer audio at the same time. But I was saying about Chuck, like he does mostly the Ender stuff, and he's well known by Creality, but he does all the vast majority of what he does is just one product, the Ender 3, and variations of the Ender
I'm a
3. He
big
talks
fan
about
of.
some of the other printers, yeah, but that's like he's got thousands of followers, all because of Ender 3.
Wow. I'm a big
Um,
T-Tech fan, so
Sorry,
I'm a big T-Tech fan. All my machinery is T-Tech, so
I don't have any GTEC printers. Um,
really,
I have offered to do some reviews and stuff with GTEC, um, and they have not taken me up on those offers. I have offered to do beta review on their products with them, and they haven't taken me up on that, and that's fine. That's their decision. Um, and I've heard from various sources that even GTEC as a company don't even know what's coming up next. Really, it's kind of a bit haphazard. I'm not going to dish them because I like their products. I haven't a printer, but I use their filaments, and I like their filaments. Their PLAs work really well.
yeah,
Um, but
I agree.
uh, but there are, like, I've worked with other companies who are willing to get their name out there. Like, I wouldn't say. I don't know what you mean by me neither too small, Jerry. Can you explain? Oh, yeah, he's talking about their filaments. He says so. He just used their filament, and I said, yeah, I'm the same. I just use their filament also.
Yeah, I love G-Tech filament. It's reliable. I mean,
Yeah,
really good.
it is. I'm like that silver. That's Mandalorian. That's his G-Tech shiny silver.
There's a
I
little
have
bit
one.
to it.
Sorry,
A little bit pink feel to it. Like
pink.
pinkish. Yeah, I do
I
think
think that's
that
just the lighting in the room. It's a
uh,
yellowish lighting. I don't have a white light. It's kind of a yellowish light. So that could be adding that. But it actually, in person, it looks super silver. But on here,
yeah,
maybe
it
it's the
does look
lighting.
silver.
Yeah, it is very, very, very silver. But it's so I have, as I said, I like their filament. Their PLA print's really good. I haven't tried their PETG, but their PLA prints very well, and I use it. Um, I don't always do a lot of PLA prints. I do a lot of PETG prints, and for PETG I use IC3D PETG. I haven't tried the GTEC PETG. I know they've recently released new versions of it, but I haven't had a chance to try it out.
Either.
IC3D has always been fantastic PETG for me. Like, I have a printer that one of my main printers that I use for large prints. I have it dialed in for PETG. I have a perfect profile. I use it for most of my PETG printing. Just one printer, because I use large functional parts like the rockets and so on here in the background. And when I'm printing those, I print them in PETG. That one was done. The big white Falcon 9 was printed in PETG, and like, I can get print quality off that printer that I have no cleanup on.
Oh, I have that too. Maybe only
Sorry,
the primer. I have cleanup. Sorry, price food. I have to get something to drink in a minute. Um, I have
here.
prints. Thank you. I like that water actually. Is it still or bubble?
Oh, it's sparkling. Yeah,
I like sparkling. It's so
yeah.
refreshing. It is. Um, what I do think. Well,
Maybe I'll get this company to sponsor me. If I show the water on all my streams, they'll sponsor me free water.
why not? Why not?
That's the only bottled water I drink. I drink this all the time. I buy a crate of it every week.
I think when somebody would sponsor me would be one of the famous soda company with red logo on it.
Yep, I do it every week. I buy a crate of it every week. There's always a crate of it, and I'm the primary drinker in the house of that water. I don't like
No,
plain
I'm not
water.
talking water. I'm talking about soda. I'm a main soda drinker.
I drink sodas too. I do drink sodas. Or in Michigan, they're not called sodas. In Michigan, it's called pop.
Yeah. Oh,
Pop in Michigan. If you go to other states in the US and call it pop, they look at you like you got two heads. They have no clue what you're talking about, in most of them. But in Michigan, all soft drinks, like sugary soft drinks, like 7 Up and Coke and all these, Sprite and all these, and they're all labeled pop in Michigan. But yeah, I do drink pop, but I drink a lot of sparkling water as well. I like carbonated drinks. I don't like.
I like
I'm not a big
tea,
fan of.
coffee.
I drink a little coffee. I do like teas, but you
Herbal tea
can't
I
drink
like.
too much. Sorry?
I like the herbal tea.
Yeah, I drink those too. I also like black teas and stuff, but
Oh yeah.
no, I like the carbonated drinks. Not necessarily just sodas, but I don't like plain bottled water or anything like that. I like the carbonated water.
That, that's good. Healthier, you know. I made a lot
Yeah.
of health choices in the last 3 months, what I would not done a year ago. And I'm really proud of myself, and I'm almost trying to cry on myself here. Uh, I mean, I stopped smoking cigarettes. That was one of
Good
the main
man.
big things. So I'm clean now for 4 months.
Do you vape or do you smoke anything?
I just smoke cigarettes and used to vape too, and I just went cold turkey. I just said to myself, just get rid of it, all of it, and go cold turkey. And for the first day, I was climbing up the walls like Spider-Man. I swear I did. So
Jerry, you ask a good question. I need to look and figure and I actually have never really paid attention, but it is a good question. So I don't know if it says soda or if it says pop on the signs. My guess, based on wherever the company is based from, it might actually say soda because um, that's more a universal, and they'd probably make all of the signs the same everywhere for the company. Like they'd print all the exact same signs from the same company, and in every store would use the same one. So I do not, but I will actually have to look. Chances are it says soda. It may say soft drinks. I don't know. I'll have to have a look. Whoever just joined, if you want to come in and join the conversation, you can. I'm just about to post a link into the chat. If you click on that link, it will, and make sure you mute your YouTube or your Facebook or whichever you're on first, and click on that link, and it'll allow you to come in and join the conversation. And I'd happily bring you into it.
so
Right now it's just go ahead.
you said last week about my list of paint pictures that I can put some tribute on it, like the lampshade, like turn it into a lampshade, and then actually print the part separately out for that part what I have now. I tried it, but parts are too big from that side, and the
Oh,
side says, "Oh, they work," but no, they don't really work. I had to cut off on the side, and I broke one lamp already. Just tried to squeeze the plastic piece in to make it fit, and no, I just on the end I just heat it up and cut a piece off, and it worked. It doesn't look
sure.
nice,
Yeah.
but
Sorry.
it
One
works.
second. So, Ember Sky Media. So Rob was on with us last week chatting here. If you want to come in and talk, please do. I just posted the link of the StreamYard link. Click on the StreamYard link, and it'll bring you up here. You'll appear here, and I'll bring you into the conversation if you want to join. Uh, if you don't see it, just let me know, and I will repost the link. But you can come in and talk with us. We talk about anything. This is a hangout. We don't only talk about being makers. We don't only talk about that kind of stuff. We talk about pretty much anything. So this is streamed out into the web. So if you want to come in and join us, oh, there you go.
Hello.
Hey, how do I pronounce your name?
Graham.
Graham.
Frame.
I've never seen Graham spelled that way. That's why I wanted to verify.
Yeah, it's the Scottish spelling. But I'm in
Are you in
Okay.
Canada.
Scotland?
So. No, I'm in Canada.
Oh, nice
Do
place.
you have snow up there yet? Whereabouts in Canada are you?
Yeah. So I'm in Ontario, just north of Lake Ontario, and
Okay.
basically, there was snow yesterday. It rained a little bit, so it's gone, and we're gonna get, I think, rain tonight. So I'm here and I'm saying hi. Otherwise, I'd actually be out trying to do some imaging. But yeah, we essentially have like rain to snow. If you drove an hour north, it would be snow.
I'm the same. I'm in Michigan. I'm south of you. So
Okay, there you
um
go.
yeah. So what type of setup do you have for your imaging?
So I have a couple different telescopes. I think I have one lying around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Yeah, So I have my primary one for imaging is the Red Cat, Red Cat 51, and what I currently have mounted, which is why this guy's inside, is the Celestron Edge HD, and then I also have a William Optics Zenistar, but I
Okay.
only use that one for guiding for this guy.
Yeah, I have a 925 HHD. I have an Explorer Scientific 102 f7 Apple. I have what else do I have? I do some solar observing, just a PST for solar.
Okay.
I also have a 13-inch Dob and a 20-inch f5 Dob.
Yeah, I use the 8-inch GHD for solar if I'm going to do it, because I image with the Nikon Z6, which is currently right here, and then
Okay.
I have my this camera here is full spectrum, so I have this for imaging when I'm using filters and stuff, which I'm currently working on a bunch of prototype filters, but it's been cloudy and rainy every single night except for
Yeah. Oh, I have an all-sky camera down here.
Okay.
I have one. It's cloudy. It's raining right now, the same as it is for you. But I have
I'm probably gonna get what you have in about 2.5 hours.
Well, it hasn't changed for us for a while, so you're probably getting it already.
But I haven't bothered to look outside in the last couple of hours, but I haven't heard too much in terms of rain. But yeah, no, yeah. It's just been sort of this giant cloud for like the last week and a half, and then the moon's coming up, and I'm like, great.
Yeah, well, with the moon, you can still do the planets. You still do Mars with the moon.
Yeah, I can still do planetary, but the only filter I have for planetary is, if I look on the back of these guys, this one right here. This is the planetary filter for methane.
Okay, no, well, I do video for planetary, and then I bring that in, I slice it up, and I process it. I stack it and process it.
Yeah, no, I do video as well, but this is a methane filter, which is for planetary. It basically, especially for Jupiter, it cuts down a lot of the other colors, and it gives you like a really sharp methane line look on it.
Do you do any 3D printing for astronomy?
I do, and I have somewhere around here. So with the filters, they're not mounted, so I actually printed my own mount.
Oh, nice.
So I have a filter holder in here somewhere. I just got to pull it over somewhere. It's sort of one of those things where it's a couple different pieces. Apologies.
Sorry, we're talking nerd stuff, Matt.
Yeah. So like,
don't worry. I understand some of the stuff, but
this is the second part.
Sorry. What I used to do, take a whole lot of cameras and put them up on the rack system, and take pictures of the sky. So have
nice.
Cameras taking up the cheap cameras. Maybe I paid £20 for each camera, similar to that, and then line them all up and taking all at the same time for half an hour exposure. So.
Cool.
Okay. So yeah, it's currently in pieces because I'm trying to look at how to improve the design so it doesn't fall apart in my hands. But this is a two-part.
Let me bring it up. Let me bring up a full screen. 1 second. It might be
cool.
So we can see what's in your hand. 1 second. There you go.
All right. So this is your sort of standard filter holder. You put the filter in here. So you put the filter in here, and then this goes in here, and it holds it together. And then you take that and you slide it in here. Make sure you can sort of see it.
Oh, so you can actually change your filters without having to move your scope. You move your camera.
That's correct.
You put it in line. Nice.
Yeah. So this is my beta or alpha version, which is why it's printed in this bronze color rather than the black stuff, which I've loaded into the printer behind us. And I'm looking to print tomorrow. But I just need to make some adjustments on the tolerances and stuff, because this actually ends up being a little too tight. And I plugged one filter in there to try it out, and it worked really well. And then when I tried to pull the filter out, it was like, I'm not coming out. And let's just say, I don't know if I have it in my, no, I don't have it in my pocket.
You should consider, if you make it a little bit narrower than it should be, a little bit thinner, and coat it with Teflon. You can get spray Teflon and give it a light coat of Teflon, so it'll glide in and out easily.
Yeah, so that's essentially what I'm thinking of doing. The Teflon's a good idea to add on, but yeah, just make it fix up the tolerances a little bit, make it so that it goes in nice and smooth. And also, I have to make one adjustment because I found out that in my Brilliance, the way I have it, there is a bit of light leaking. So like you end up with a little bit of light blur up in the top corner. So I have to redo it. I'm gonna 3D print it in the black tough PLA stuff. So.
what you do is where you slide it in, if the light's leaking from on top, where
Yeah.
you slide it in, add a brim that's wider than the slot,
Hmm.
like a holder, but like a cover, a shield, so that goes beyond that area. So when it slides in, it actually overlaps and goes beyond the slot, and actually that will kill off any light. But
Yeah.
don't print it in PLA. Print that in PETG.
Yeah. I don't have PETG yet.
Hey, Spring, how are you? Do you want to come in and join the conversation? Does everybody know Spring?
Yes.
I do not know Spring.
Oh, Spring is actually is one of the primaries on all of the GTech live streams.
Okay.
And she actually is out there advertising and does the interviews with the makers and so on. So if
Okay.
you want to come in and join us, Spring, I don't know what your day is like. I know how busy you are, but if you want to come in and join the conversation, click on that StreamYard link right there that I just posted, and you can come in and join the conversation if you want for a small while or whatever time you have. It's okay if you don't have time, but if you do, you're welcome to join us.
Nice.
So yeah, go
Another
ahead.
stuff I 3D printed is a solar finder. I printed a dew shield for the Telrad that I designed, and basically I'm in the process of doing some other stuff. My goal is next year to actually 3D print an entire telescope. I know there's a couple versions out there. I just want to do something a little crazier.
Well, you can't do the struts and so on. You can do a lot of it, but if you're doing it like a daub or whatever, you have to use metal somewhere for rigidity,
Oh,
because plastic
absolutely.
itself is not rigid. Unless
Uh,
you might get away with carbon fiber. If you do a carbon fiber material print, then
mhm.
you might get away with rigidity on that. But like you would be, or maybe ASA or something like those high temperatures.
Well, what I'm hoping to do is design it and have it 3D printed because I just have a hobbyist 3D printers, so I can print like PLA, PETG, TPU, stuff like that. So I'm gonna probably build it that way, and then my goal after that is once I have it and then make sure it works and everything sort of fits together, is then go to a print house that can print it in something like engineering materials, and then have them actually print something really good. But yeah, there's
Sure.
gonna be certain things like a strut or like a long tube or something like that. There's no point in 3D printing something like that.
No,
That's something where you
and
just go out
aluminum
and buy it.
extrusion is aluminum
Oh,
extrusion is cheap anyway. So
exactly.
well, I see you can't join us today, Spring. Well, if you do get time, we'll be here for a small while. It's only 9 o'clock. We'll probably be at least here another till at least 10 o'clock. So if you want to come in and join us, you're more than welcome. And if there's somebody else other than Spring online that would like to come in and join the conversation, I just want to post a link for you to come in and join. You can click on that link to come in and join the conversation if you wish to. Um, if you are on YouTube or Facebook, please mute your YouTube or Facebook before you click on the link so you can come in and join us. If you don't, what's going to happen is we'll have double audio, we'll have feedback, and everyone will cringe with all of that noise in their ears. So please mute your Facebook or your YouTube. As you see, Graham is our emotional illustrator for the show. um,
The
so please,
exit
if
rows
you
are down here. Please make sure.
so let me take you back. We go back to where we're all sharing. So yeah, like I do a lot of stuff for I do this is PETG,
Okay.
and this is my own Raspberry Pi mount, and I
Okay.
have what I've done with this is this is all PETG,
Yeah.
no cleanup, no sanding, no nothing, as is off the printer, pull off the supports, and I'm done. And I printed it in that position.
Okay. Yeah.
This was all support that I pulled out. But I made the go into the dovetail.
Hmm.
I actually put the screws and the bolts in here, 2 bolts, and the screws on the side, and I put springs on the screws. So now I don't need to loosen and tighten anything. It actually moves.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. No, I
So I
made.
can stretch it and clip it onto my dovetail,
Mhm.
the Vixen style dovetail, and it goes on. And to take it off, I can just pull it off because the springs will allow for it to move. And it's to mount my Raspberry Pi because I do I do not. I've done imaging in the past with using a PC, and you have to
Mhm.
haul your power supplies and big bulky stuff out there, and
Mhm.
a laptop and cables. Now the Raspberry Pi and my cell phone, and I can do all my imaging and a whole sequence of imaging, and set it up, hit go, and sit back and watch my telescope do its job on its own.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah,
So I
no,
don't have to do anything else.
I designed a similar thing, although I did not have a cool spring mechanism on it for somebody who had one of those Pegasus power box things, and they needed a similar type of concept. But yeah, no, my system, I need the laptop and everything. It's all manual. I don't have GoTo or anything.
Oh, you don't have so how do you do your imaging with no GoTo? You just use setting circles?
I moved it's push to, so I just push it to where I want, and then I have it where I have my guide camera sit there, run on it, and it basically guides all night on that one target.
It has side reel rate, so you actually have you have side reel motion. Okay.
Yeah. It's a German equatorial Lasmody mount. So
what is it? I have the G11 G2.
I have the GM8, although I've modified it a bit.
Is it with
to work really well?
Is it with or without the tucked motors?
It has the
when did you buy it?
So I got it about, I'm going to say 7 or 8 years ago. It was already used.
Oh,
so it's one of the earlier versions, but
it's a version 1, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a version 1. So I modified a friend of mine and I, we pulled it completely apart, cleaned it, everything, re-greased it with grease that's designed for Canadian weather. I've modified swapped out the RA motor, swapped out the worm gear with an O-Vision worm gear, and also went and adjusted the I'm not sure what you call it, but the spring settings on it so that it's a little bit smoother than what it came with.
Oh, you mean the backlash in the worm gear?
Yeah. Well, the worm gear, but also the when you turn the
clutches.
Clutches, yeah. So I modified the clutches so they run a lot nicer right now than what they originally did, because before they seemed to clutch or not clutch. Now they're a little bit more smoother in that, so it's a little bit nicer to
clean them down with alcohol. Helps a lot too.
Oh yeah.
Because you get grease on those clutches, and they don't, because they're friction clutches.
Yeah.
And if you get grease on those, you don't get any. You lose the ability for them to actually mesh properly and hold your axis in place. If you ever need to do lithophanes, talk to Matt, the guy that's probably, I don't know where he is in your screen. For me, he's your upper right.
Here.
yeah, Matt over here. Because Matt does some fantastic lithophanes. I mean, really beautiful lithophanes.
Okay.
And he's only printing for 9 months.
Okay. Well, I'm September, October, November. Sorry, September, October, November. So 3.5 months, because I started near the end of August.
Oh, wow!
Yeah.
You're even newer than Matt.
And I got 4 printers.
4? Is that all?
I know exactly. I'm like, in for a penny, in for a pound. But then you talk to everyone else, they're like, only 4? Like, what? Like,
look at this. Watch these. Look at these lithophanes.
Those are nice. Those are nice. Yeah, I have not tried lithophanes yet. I got a white PLA to try it out, but I haven't done it yet. Yeah, that's some nice work, Matt.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, he does. He's like, Matt and I started chatting online. Like, I've been printing for a long time, but Matt and I started chatting online because he started posting pictures of his lithophanes. I thought he was an experienced printer, and I find out he's only been doing it for a few months. And I went, that they're amazing results for someone who's only been printing for a short time. I know people who would die, who've been printing for years, who would die to try and get quality like that on lithophanes. And lithophanes take so long to print, They are slow to print.
Yeah, that's why I haven't done them yet.
Longest print was 18 days.
18 days for lithophane. Like, see, yeah. Well,
my longest print really slow, right, Matt?
Pardon me? Yeah, really slow. 40 mm second.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Yeah, I'm
like,
look at my
0.6 millimeter.
Yeah,
that's my first ever superhero character I've ever printed.
I think I have that one too. I don't know.
And I only did it the other day.
Printers?
No. We don't hear your printers.
Yeah, I don't. Mine's off. Yeah, mostly I've been printing these little boats.
Oh, benchies. Yeah, no, yeah. I print a lot of actual functional parts, and I do mostly PETG prints in my stuff. Wow,
Yeah.
multiple colors. No, I do
Well,
mostly PETG prints is what I do, and I do functional parts, so they have
yeah.
the strength. Like that's this rocket here,
Mhm.
the Falcon 9.
Yeah.
That's a PETG print.
Okay.
Um, this is
Yeah.
PLA.
Okay.
These are PETG. This is nice. I like this one. You can see how smooth it is.
Yeah, that's a nice print. Yeah. I want to print one of those. I'm just
And it comes apart. These parts come off.
so you okay.
That's stage 1.
Yeah.
This is stage 2 booster.
Yeah, I know it's on my list of things to print. But
These come off.
yeah.
How many printers do you have?
For
Me,
me
Graham?
or him? I
Graham.
have
Yeah, you-
I have 4, which is why I have so many little benchies because I've been calibrating them all.
All right.
Yeah, I
Uh,
I'm doing
have.
little tiny cups.
Well, I have 6 right now.
Okay.
I have another one arriving Monday, which is going to be
Ooh.
7. When I do printer reviews.
Yeah,
Um,
I do them as well. I just only have 2 of them out so far.
Yeah, no,
'Cause
no.
I've got other two.
I have one arriving Monday. I have another. I have more printers arriving in December. I have a CNC machine arriving. I probably have a laser cutter arriving at some point as well.
Yeah.
Anything to do with makers, I do reviews on. So I do CNC. I know CNC. My father was a carpenter, so I know
Okay.
machining. I know. I've done 3D printing a lot. And I've done laser engraving, but a lot of people use the diode lasers, which
Okay.
are really good if you're just doing like soft materials or just like to do like burn a pattern onto a material.
Mhm.
But if you want to get into cutting thicker materials, you have to go on into the CO2s.
Yeah, the CO2
Um,
stuff.
I don't have a CO2 right now. Um, Jerry was on her earlier on, but he's gone off. But Jerry was asking about CO2s. He's got one.
Okay.
I may look into something like that, but not yet. Maybe if I do, there's good prices right now. So I
Yeah,
may
there's
look into it.
definitely some really good prices, especially this week.
There's K40s out there for under $300.
Which one?
A K40.
Okay, I don't know which.
It's a
what they are.
CO2. It's a
Oh, the
CO2
CO2
laser. It's
Okay.
It's a 40-watt CO2 laser. Then there's some
Okay.
of those out there for under 40 for we're under $300 here in the States, or for
Yeah.
about $300 or so here in the
Yeah.
US. So I may look into I don't know yet. But I do reviews for companies, and I do some beta testing for some companies. They send me
Yeah.
beta machines to put through the ringer and give
Yeah.
feedback about what's good and what's bad, what needs to be changed or improved.
Yeah.
I've done some of those, so
I
I end up
I've
with
done
some
some.
printers because of it.
Yeah, no, I've done some printers, a couple reviews right now. I'm working on the final 2, and I've given them companies back some feedback. Be like, here's some changes you want to make. My background's in engineering, so I'm like, here's some things you might want to change in your version 3.
Yeah, my background is IT, but I know engineering. I know quality because I'm an ISO certified auditor as well from my colored background. so
Okay.
so I look at everything analytically, and I look at I don't just look at how it looks and how it works on the outside. I'm the type of person that will get out my multimeter and go
Mhm.
do pot testing and make sure that the voltage going through the pots are correct as well for your motors. You know, I'll do stuff like that. It's
That's
just
cool.
the way my mind works. It's always has been like that. I've always been that type. The same when it comes to like I'm into science. I'm into
Mhm.
physics and stuff and astrophysics. So like I'll sit down and explain to you how the core of a sun works, and different types of stars, how they work, like the proton chain or the CNO cycle and all this kind of stuff. I can have those conversations because I like that side. I like those conversations.
Mhm.
Like,
What do you think about
but
mantle prototypes?
Sorry,
Mathematic. The Mantelbrot set.
I don't understand you. I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little bit.
It's called Mantelbrot set. It's a mathematical, like you see my images like on my vase, bro.
Hmm?
That's a Mantelbrot set.
He's talking about a type of fractal design, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Oh,
fractal.
right. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. Yeah, fractal designs are actually the fractal geometries and stuff are being used more and more in chemistry and biochemistry now, because it's a way of graphically displaying what's happening in at the genetics level. They're starting to use it for that. Um, I have a big interest in doing stuff for the blind. Um,
Yeah, me
uh,
too.
so yeah. Oh, by the way, whoever just joined, whoever's watching, I don't know whether on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. If you want to come join the conversation, I'm just posting the StreamYard link. You can click on that StreamYard link. Make sure you mute your Facebook or your YouTube before you click on the link, so we don't end up getting a lot of feedback. And while you're in here, before you switch over and come in, click like and subscribe to the channel, so you know when I go live and when there's other events happening. That way, then it helps promote the channel as well, please.
Except on my
But yeah,
channel, I just go live at random, and then people are like, "What? You were live?" I'm like, "I was."
yeah. Well, I try and do them on a schedule. So I do my hangouts on a Wednesday at 8 o'clock
Okay.
Eastern. Um, Normally on a Thursday, I've been doing a series of interviews of 3D printer and other 3D related
Hmm.
companies.
Okay.
Like I've had JG Maker come in and talk to it and do
Okay.
a get to know you conversation about the person and the company. I've
Yeah.
done it for Maker Pi. I've done it for Soval.
Okay.
Um, I next week I didn't do one this week because tomorrow Thursday is the day I normally do it. Is Thanksgiving here in the States.
Yeah.
Canadians one is what, next week?
No. We had ours like a month and a half ago, man.
Oh, you had yours already. Okay,
Yeah,
so
we're really early, so we
yeah.
just sit here, and our tradition over here is to watch your news and watch people just go nuts in the stores.
Oh, yeah. But so I normally do it on a Thursday. So that, I don't have one this week. I'm not having an actual scheduled
Mhm.
like conversation stream this week. But next week I have at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to have IC3D. Do you know them?
I knew the other ones, but I don't know. I see 3D.
Okay, IC3D are a company that actually they are primarily known for filament, but
Okay, that
they
might be
do
why.
make they yeah, they're actually in they're in Ohio. They're actually just south of me. They're near us.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, for me, the main issue is up here in Canada. There's not always the greatest selection of stuff, so a
well,
lot of like
IC3D will
stuff.
ship directly to you. They'll ship
I,
directly to your
I'm
door.
sure they will. Have you ever
No,
tried
see,
shipping something to Canada from the United States?
I have to say no.
Yeah, no,
But they may
it's
have
a
the
bad
store
idea.
in house, and they're on also on Amazon.
Okay,
So
Amazon we can do. If it's on Amazon.ca, it's a lot easier to do
yeah,
stuff.
check out Amazon because IC3D are out there and their filament is fantastic.
Yeah,
I use their PETG and it's amazing. It's a fantastic product.
awesome.
Um, so they're coming on next week, but they don't only do that. They also do and build and design 3D printers for big for automotive.
Okay,
Um, and they experiment into all other stuff like, and we're going to talk about some of this stuff they're looking into about for developing their own large. I mean, their printers are like 1 meter cubed type printers. They're
uh-huh.
not little desktop stuff that we use.
Well,
Um,
the first 3D printer I used, 3D printer, was the size of a room.
what were you printing on that thing?
Plasma torch stuff.
Well, that's not a 3D printer then. Is it a
It
plasma torch?
Yeah, it's a plasma torch that shoots out for coatings and stuff like that, but it's a giant robot arm.
Oh yeah.
So it
Yeah,
runs just
yeah.
like a 3D printer. It's got a plasma torch on the end that shoots up high metal particles that then hit surfaces and then coat them. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, but these guys they do FDM printing, but in a large scale
okay,
as well. So it's kind of cool some of the stuff they're playing with. And so I'll have them, and then TH3D. You know Tim at TH3D?
I'm aware of them, and I follow him on Twitter.
Well, yeah, on the 10th, I just got
Okay.
confirmation yesterday. On the 10th of December at 8
Okay.
p.m., I will have Tim, who's the owner of TH3D, to come on and
Okay.
talk about his company, about
Ooh,
what they
okay.
do and what their plans are. And like they do a lot for people who want to do upgrades and improvements on their printers.
Mhm.
They have their own custom made boards. They have their own firmware for a lot of printers out there that they created their own firmware because some
Okay.
printers come without thermal runaway protection enabled.
Okay.
So they actually create firmware that actually turns that on to make it safer. I
Okay.
know so I had a CR10 Mini
Mhm.
that had no thermal runaway protection enabled on it by default, and I bought a kit from them.
Mhm.
It's just an Uno,
Yeah.
an Arduino Uno, and some cables, and they gave detailed instructions and they provided the firmware and so on. So I used their firmware and it worked out fantastic.
Well, that's
Um,
good.
and that was a while back, but still, I hadn't had a need to flash firmware prior to that. But I've done some, but I didn't have to do it on the Creality boards, and they had a kit designed for that, and I used that kit. And it was worked out great. But Tim will be on in 2 weeks' time,
Mhm.
talking about his company, and I'm working on a few others to line up a few, like, Artour. Artour they're based out of China. They do
Okay.
3D printers, they do laser engravers, they do CNC machines, and so on. I'm about to schedule, once they agree to the time, to have Artour to come on and have a conversation with me as well. And I'm guessing if I get Artour on the 17th, if I can.
Mhm.
But that might be earlier in the day because the person I'm speaking to is
Yeah,
actually
they're
in
off.
the EU. He's in Europe. He's one of their
Okay.
support guys and one of the heads of support. Um,
Yeah. So you're gonna get him. Latest you'll probably get him is like 4 in the afternoon before they're like.
yeah, and I can do that, and then after that, and that'll be the last one until. Well, I might get one Christmas Eve, but I don't think anybody will be watching Christmas Eve. But because it'll be
uh.
Christmas Day for over in Asia, and
Yeah.
so I won't get anybody online. So and then the one after that will be actually on the 31st, which is New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So
So.
I may have a week or two of a gap, or what
Mhm.
I might do is because of those gaps, I might change the schedule and move interviews forward
Mhm.
and get them done maybe earlier in the week, maybe on a Tuesday evening or something, and do them earlier in the week. That way, then
Mhm.
I can keep the momentum going because it's been good. People like the interviews. The
Mhm.
companies like coming on talking because most companies invite makers like us online to talk about
Mhm.
what we do.
Yeah.
Um, I'm doing the opposite. I'm bringing the company online to talk about what they do, and to get to know the people we see online all the time talking about stuff, and to find out what they're planning coming up.
Yeah.
So
That sounds pretty good.
whoever just joined, if
Click
you
the
want to
link.
join,
Click the link.
you can click on
Yeah.
the you can click on that link I just posted on
I feel
the
like the third
StreamYard link.
wheel here.
No, join in the conversation. We're talking about the interviews I've been doing.
I know. I'm listening. I'm just,
Uh,
like I said, I'm new to this all, and I'm still learning and listening and taking all this in. And it's
Well,
kind of
Graham is newer than
it
you are.
really.
so that depends what you want. If you want the astronomy stuff, I've been doing it for a decade. If you want 3D printing stuff, 3.5 months.
Oh, oh.
So
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
take your pick. Yeah. Well, for me, I'm going to be vlogging most of December. I'm supposed to be doing it as a daily vlog, but we'll see if that actually happens or not. And that will be
About what, astronomy or what? Or printing?
it'll a combination of both. I'm actually looking at trying to build 3D print one of those SpaceX things, but I also
Oh,
have
Falcon 9.
had somebody send me one of those little metal X things, like little tiny plate metals, and you build them into like a little structure.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna probably make a video of that where I basically compete against a 3D printer printing a similar model, see who's faster. But a lot of it's going to be dependent on if I actually get my Psionics camera, which has taken them like 8 months to freaking ship to me.
Well, yeah, there is delays in getting everything out.
Oh,
Everything
absolutely.
shipped from overseas. I had an LC 120 MC
Okay.
um, a guide camera or planetary camera,
Hmm.
and it spent 6 weeks in U.S. customs.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
So
I
then
had
that was just U.S. So
well, the Psionics camera is coming from the US and it's coming here, and I'm just fingers crossed it shows up before Christmas and that they don't turn around and say, and here's a giant you know, import fee. Like I have
yeah.
to pay taxes, but I'm hoping that I don't get hit with a whole bunch of random import taxes. Although it's a camera, so theoretically there shouldn't be any duties, etc. on it. But
One
you know,
second. So whoever just joined, whoever's on the watching us, if you want to come in and join the conversation, I just posted a StreamYard link. You can click on that link and join the conversation if you wish to. We don't bite much, but so if you want to come in and join the conversation, click on the link. Um, we can. You're welcome to come and join the conversation. It can be. We're talking about anything and everything. So it is a hangout. There's no specific rules other than we have one rule. Let's keep it clean because I'd like to create content that anybody and everybody can watch, and I'd rather not create content that only that's going to get flagged for teens and young teens and so on. I'd rather it
mhm.
be educational and be general than be, let's say, colorful in a way that's not nice.
All right. So on that educational standpoint, I do have a question for you.
Okay,
TPU. I'm looking at doing that next. Now that I've been sort of playing around with PLA, because I have a couple of prints I want to make, but I want to have bendy parts to it that don't break over time. And I've been
okay.
looking at the Shore hardness scale and the description on a bunch of different filaments, and I'm like, I understand what the Shore hardness scale is supposed to mean, but what that actually means from a 3D standpoint for the TPU seems to be up to interpretation a little bit.
Well, okay. First of all, what printers do you have?
So I'm going to be using the Mingda D2 for the TPU because it's a direct drive printer.
Okay.
Literally why I
Now,
got it.
if you have a direct drive, you can print any Shure hardness pretty much.
Hmm.
The one thing you will want to watch is speed of print
Hmm.
and retractions. The least number of retractions is often better, and the lower the retraction distance.
Hmm.
Um, some people print it like some people print without any retractions at all. It may end up with it being a bit stringy, but the problem with TPU is you're pushing a rope, right?
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yeah.
The best way I describe of printing TPU is you're pushing a rope.
Hmm.
So, and pushing a rope is hard, right? Especially trying to get
Hmm.
it to go in a straight line is hard. That's why some of the high number Shore hardness,
Hmm.
meaning the softer material, uh, is difficult to print, or sometimes almost next to impossible to print. Like Ninja Flex has a Shore hardness of something like 95.
Yeah. 85 and 95 are the two numbers I've seen with them.
85 is a stiffer material,
Okay.
and because it's a stiffer material, you can get away with it with short Bowden tubes.
Okay.
95 is like a Ninja Flex type of soft material, like
Hmm.
really soft rubber, like a handle, like you get in the handlebars,
Yeah.
um, and stuff like that. That is kind of hard to print with a Bowden tube, so a direct drive is needed.
Yeah.
I would say you need to do a couple of things. You need to do temperature testing. You need to do retraction testing on TPU. Um, Print it slow.
Yeah.
The slower you print it, the better quality you get. I would highly recommend you use combing because if you're not doing much retraction or any retraction at all,
Hmm.
um, combing allows when the printer is traveling from
Hmm.
one area to the other, it doesn't jump because that will leave a string. You actually follow the part around in its shape. You've actually followed the shape of the part
Hmm.
to get to the part B to print, rather than jumping from one point to the next to start the next part.
Okay.
So
That's called
combing is
comb.
important,
Okay. Is
and
that on
This is
Cura
combing
Slicer?
called? What's
yeah,
it called?
combing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in Cura.
Okay.
Combing is really good if you're I'm printing PETG. I
Hmm.
have combing turned on, and I print slow, but I have combing turned on. So that instead of when it prints here and
Hmm.
it wants to start over here again, it doesn't jump. It actually goes
Yeah, I've had that.
and
I've
then
seen
starts
that do.
printing.
I've
And
seen
you
it do that on some things. Yeah.
and turn on combing over infill, not on the wall. Okay, do not
Okay.
do combing on the wall. There's one other setting I would highly recommend. It kind of wipes the nozzle before it
Okay.
moves, and it's called outer wall wipe.
All right.
So outer wall wipe, basically when you're printing the outer wall, let's say my fist is the outer wall, okay, or no,
Yeah.
better still, let's say this, the outer wall of this, there's a smooth side, right? And I'm
Yeah.
printing the outer side, the outer wall of this.
Mm-hmm.
Before I'm finished the outer wall, I want to wipe my nozzle before I move to the next spot. So what outer wall wipe does is, and I set it at 0.2, outer wall wipe does the outside wall, and when it's done, it does a little a little dance, and it makes the nozzle move in 0.2
Yeah.
of a millimeter away from
Okay.
the wall to clean off the nozzle before it Z hops to move, if it's going to Z hop at all.
Okay. Gotcha.
That way, then you're cleaning the nozzle, you're moving, and then and you move fast. So have your motion, your moving, your
Yeah.
travel set at a high speed.
Okay.
So at least it moves there fast and it doesn't have much time for it to seep out of the nozzle. But yeah, that's probably um, the best advice I would give. Those tweaks give you slightly cleaner prints. If you don't have those turned on, when you're
Mhm.
jumping from one part, like say one part to another, you'll
Yeah.
get strings laid across if you don't wipe the nozzle first. But
Okay.
if you can do combing allows you to travel back along the part to the next part to start printing again. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind a little bit of surface stuff, like strings, like on if it's stuck to the surface, that's okay.
Mhm.
Um, Also, check out the user forums on for your printer specifically.
Mhm.
Chances are someone has done a TPU um, profile out there, or
Yeah.
has TPU profiles recommendations that you can at least start with when you're doing
Mhm.
it. But the wiping of the nozzle is a big difference, and like I said, PETG can be very very stringy. I
Yeah.
print PETG 0 strings because of the outer wall wipe and because I use combing.
Okay. So yeah, I've made notes.
Well, when you get TPU, don't start with Ninja Flex or like a 95. Start with an
Yeah.
85. It's a bit stiffer, but
Okay.
at least you'd get them dialed in fairly well. Don't
85.
go straight into the really soft stuff because really soft filament, like
Mhm.
the really soft flex materials, are painful to print.
Okay.
In a lot of cases, you don't use retractions on them
Oh,
because
they're
you
too big.
can't really retract because you're basically trying to pull a rubber band. That's
Yeah.
how soft some of these materials are.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. That is some great advice. And once I get some TPU, because as I said, I've got a few little connectors and things I want to print. They're mostly little small items.
Yeah,
And then I'll move on to potentially bigger stuff later. But we'll see.
you should if you let me show you my link to my group.
Okay.
If you join my group, let me get the link. Sorry, 1 second.
I can scroll up and find it. No. Facebook groups 49944.
No, it's not a number. No.
3D printing. Oh,
Here, I'm gonna post it in chat. It's a small group. It's a
okay.
new group. It's called 3D Printing Help Desk. But if you have questions, I'm on there all the time. I'm on other groups as well. But if you ask a question
Mhm.
there, I give priority to my own group above everybody else. But I do help out in lots of groups out there. That's how Matt and I met. Um, so please ask questions, and I will do what I can to guide. If you request to join, I can probably
Okay.
get you access now.
I think I hit the button. Yeah, I hit the button.
Yeah,
Question,
look,
guys.
this
Do
one.
you think to have a microscope is overkill?
A microscope for what?
Like I use microscopes for my list of paint pictures to tell me when I need to change my nozzle out. For example, I can show you. Hold on. Let me switch the camera around.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm just doing something here. Let me go back to the
Yeah.
stream. Let me put you as primary. 1 second. Okay, it's a bit blurry. What are you looking for here?
Yeah. Well, this is my
Oh,
microscope.
he's
What I
got
do is I hold it to there, and it basically, see, this is a clean print, basically.
Okay. Yeah. So we're looking at the surface of the print.
Yeah, exactly. And you only find little bit smudges like black markings on there. But if you go on this one, you find
Okay.
lots of things. See?
Okay.
Well,
And this
that
tells,
looks like this looks like the material is not laid down properly.
Yeah.
It
It looks
looks
like
like
under
it's
extruding.
yeah, you're under extruding a little bit.
yeah, that's part two. And also, it needed to exchange the nozzle because my experience is
Okay.
the, when the nozzle goes bad, it produces more black marking on to the print. And
Okay.
what I do is generally
Yeah.
then
Well,
I paint it out
it
and
depends on what.
it disappears the black marking.
Yeah.
That's my
So what the
finding.
black market, because you're only putting white filament through, right?
Yes,
You're only putting white filament
Okay.
through.
That's
Okay.
burnt
So the
then.
black
What
marking
the
means that you have filament that's not. Yeah, it's burnt.
Yeah, you have
Yeah,
burnt
exactly.
material in your hot end. So you don't have to change the nozzle for that. There's a few ways of curing that. So since you primarily print with PLA,
Yeah.
if what I would recommend you do is you can get a higher temp material like PETG or even a small bit of nylon, but you can do it with PETG and get a small spool of one or the other that's hotter than PLA. And what you do is you heat the hot end, you remove your filament and you do
Yeah.
a cold pull, but you do a cold pull with a higher temperature material. So I would heat if you're printing PLA at 200 degrees, let's say, PETG prints really well at 230, 240. So I would actually get my PETG to clean out my PLA out of the hot end. I would manually push through some PETG, right? And then when it's at PETG printing temperature, let's say 240 degrees, push your PETG down into your hot end, let it start melting in there, and keep pressure on it. Keep pushing manually by hand, right? And then set your temperature to cool down, to go
Okay.
cold, while pushing, still pushing down. So what you're basically doing is the whole area inside the nozzle, that is where it's hollowed out as a V shape. Let me take you off full and share it 1 second. So the whole area, as you should know, inside the nozzle is not perfectly straight. There's a slightly angled, right? That's not a perfectly
Yeah.
straight tube. But you're actually by pushing in the PETG while the nozzle is hot, you're filling the whole nozzle with melted PETG, and then as the nozzle starts cooling down, which is going to be from the outside in, right?
Mhm.
You're going to fill up that whole area with PETG, and you let it go cold. And then when it's cold, then you warm up the hot end again to about to about 190 about 190 degrees, 185, 190. Just when PGG starts to get a small bit, not melt, but kind of get small bit soft, a little bit soft. And when that happens, when you're at that temperature, do a cold pull. While the temperature is at that, pull pull out the PETG. You're basically pulling out a plug of PETG that's in your nozzle, and you'll see a lot of gunk, black stuff stuck to the PETG. Cut it off, repeat the process, and repeat it until you get, when you do the cold
Clean.
pull, what comes out is clean. So you can see a plug. Remember yesterday you showed a picture of a
Yeah. Yeah.
plug at the end? You should get that plug, but it should be like a more fixed shape. And you'll get that plug, and there should be black stuff built into it. And if you repeat multiple times, you're actually pulling out the burnt PETG that's stuck inside the nozzle at wherever it's stuck. You're pulling it out, and do it until you get a clean pull. It comes out and there's nothing but your PETG color, whatever color your PETG is. Like use a light colored PETG, like a white or a clear, so you can
Yeah.
see the darker colors stuck to it. And when it starts pulling clean, then go back and put in your run a lot of your white PLA through it. I would say run maybe 100 millimeters 50 to 100 millimeters or more of white PLA through, because whatever and then do it at the printing temperature of PETG. So you heat the nozzle up again after your cold pulls are done. Reheat your nozzle to about 230, so PETG is soft, and flush lots of PLA through. And what will happen is any PETG that's left inside from the cold pull, if any is left inside, that will be flushed out with the flow of the PLA, and then drop the PLA temperature down to normal PLA temp, about 200 degrees or wherever you print at, and run another batch of PLA through. And if that comes out clean, then you'll have a clean print, because that black stuff is burnt material that's stuck inside a nozzle that's coming out, and a cold pull is how you clean that out.
This is what I found actually. Just the longer I wait to change the nozzle out, the more black stuff accumulates onto the object itself. So that's
yeah, but
like
you shouldn't have to change the nozzle that often. You're changing the nozzle, you said once a month.
Once a month, yeah.
You don't need to. What's happening is, if you turn on and you heat up your printer and it's not printing and it's sitting there hot for 10, 15, 20 minutes, right? If you're doing that, basically what's happening is the filament is baking inside the nozzle. Mm-hmm. It's cooking. And like if you overcook something, it burns, right? That's basically what's happening. So you only turn on the printer and heat and be ready to start your print once your system is ready to print. If you don't do that, you're going to get those burnt out. And if you do start seeing that burnt stuff coming out in your print, cold pull, like I just described, but always cold pull with a higher temp material. So if you're doing PLA, you can do a cold pull with PETG. But it would even be better if you actually do a cold pull with nylon. And it doesn't matter if it's damp nylon, whatever, and it's steaming coming out the nozzle, it doesn't matter. You do a material that's a higher temp, because nylon prints about, you can get nylon to print at about 135, 140, maybe even 145, right? Or 245, sorry, not 140, 245. And if you heat it and you push nylon through, when you do a cold pull, like if you buy, let's say, 1 spool of nylon and you have it for 50 years just doing cold pulls, it's worth it.
So, because fun note on that, apparently you can use trimmer line nylon.
I wouldn't use trimmer line because its diameter is not fixed. That's my only worry about that. Some of those have one side be round, one side be flat because of the way they make it. Mm-hmm. So I would use the nylon. Would be a better cold pull material, but you can get away with some PETG. But if you don't have PETG, go with nylon. Is that you again, not posting nylon?
I'm not.
Oh, that's Canadian. That's your buddy.
Oh.
So, do you want to come and join us? I just posted the link again. If you want to come in and join us.
Yeah, Ron.
Yeah, Ron was on with us last week.
Yeah. Yeah, he was on with you, and then he told me, and he was like, hey, this guy pretty much does similar stuff to what you do. You should totally say hi.
He's a nerd. Come talk to him.
Exactly. It's like he's got telescopes and 3D printers just like you.
Yeah, but I also have gas tubes, and I also have physics experiments, and I have my own homemade Rubens tube, and because I demonstrate, I do physics demonstrations.
Mm-hmm.
I do rockets, yeah. I'm a solar system ambassador for NASA. That's as a volunteer. So I do outreach for NASA. So
I don't. My next physics experiment is going to be taking this camera here and a lens. I'm not sure exactly where it is, and I'm going to point it at the sun because they're both broken.
I wouldn't do that because it will fry it.
Oh, this is
and broken, it will damage but it will damage your lens as well.
No, the lens is broken.
I'm just saying, if you want something to cook, that will do it. Because if you go back to the solar eclipse of 3 years ago, mm-hmm. right, 2017 solar eclipse here in the States, that solar eclipse, people rented cameras for the solar eclipse, and so many cameras were returned to the rental companies with burnt lenses. With melted lenses, with melted the CCD chip on the camera was actually melted from the sun.
I'm sure. So I have this lens here, and it's totally broken. It had a little bit of a tumble, and I was using this guy as the webcam, and I accidentally had him plugged in for 4 days, and he decided to die. So I was just going to do a video about it and basically put them together, and then just demonstrate. Don't point these at the sky.
Yeah, Ron seems to
they
be
are
having
nice.
issues.
Oh, no, Ron.
He says
don't
he's
have
trying
issues.
to. Here,
Okay.
just retry that group. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong link, Ron. My mistake. I'm sorry. I sent you the link to my Sorry, forgive me. I sent you the one for Facebook, my Facebook group, which you can join as well. You're more than welcome to join. There's a StreamYard link. I'm sorry. Click on the StreamYard link and you come in. So whoever's on, there's 2 people out there right now who are observing. If you want to come in and join the conversation, you're free to do so. I just posted the StreamYard link. Click on that StreamYard link, come in and join us. And while you're on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you are, click on the thumbs up and click on the like and subscribe. So it gives better traction to the channel. And if you do join from YouTube or Facebook, mute your YouTube and Facebook before you join, so we don't get feedback. So yeah, so that will burn. That, I mean, I've seen it.
I know what'll burn,
and it doesn't take long.
I'm aware of this.
Like, I was in Wyoming for the eclipse, and I was walking around with people who were setting up cameras, and I said, "Do you have a filter for that?" And they'll say, "No," because I had telescopes set up for it, because I imaged the eclipse. And I said, "Do you have a filter for that?" And they said, "No." I said, "You can't point that at the sun. You can only turn it on during totality. If you do it before or after totality, you're going to destroy your camera and your lens." And I mean, you wouldn't believe the number of people I came across.
I'm sure there's plenty. I remember we were doing a solar outreach once, and it was basically one guy in the group just basically walked around and was like, no, because like so many people showed up and they didn't have solar filters. They were trying to like look through. It was like, I'm surprised we didn't have 5 blind people from the end of that thing.
And there's 2 types of solar filter, right?
Oh yeah, there's several.
Like even the white light filter that they like the beta film solar filters. There's 2 types of that. There's one for photography and there's one for visual. And if you get them mixed up and you use the wrong one, the one for photography will actually damage your eyes. The one for visual will work for photography, but the one for photography will not work for visual.
Yeah, because the photography one is a little bit more.
It allows in more light.
Yeah,
and that's bad for your eyes. Whereas a solar filter, just so you know, Matt, a solar filter is a film that goes over the front of a camera telescope. But the ones that we're talking about, it filters out 99 point. Sorry?
It's almost like sunglasses.
It's more closer to It's actually like, closer to welder's glasses.
Well, it's something like, what is it, 99.9995? I believe it is. Yeah.
Yeah. You missed 1 9.
I missed a 9. Yeah, it's basically black. Like I got this little filter here. This is for the K-line filter stuff for solar.
But sodium K, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's sodium K. But I got that one, and it's like they're like, yeah, here you go, but make sure you put a filter in front of it.
Yeah.
Just use that.
Well, yeah, you need to. And the other thing about them is like. It blocks out so much light that only 1 photon of light out of every 100,000 of photons, which are what light is made out of, photons, pass through the filter. So, and the ones for photography, for a camera, allows a small little bit more of light through, but it's enough to actually wipe out your eyes.
I think it's like 2 or 3, isn't it not? My brain, that's what my brain is thinking in the back of the head.
It's 99.9997 or 99.998 is what it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see if Ron can get on now. He's back, or whoever's actually just after joining. Ron had to reboot his computer. So whoever's out there, if you want to join our stream, come in and have a conversation with us. The link is actually in the chat. I just posted it in the chat. You can come in and click on that link, come in and join the conversation. All we ask is that you keep it civil, and you can join in any shape or form. But
really,
we try and avoid politics. Well, you can be any shape you want to, right?
I would recommend we avoid politics.
Yeah, we avoid politics and religion.
Exactly.
Probably a good move.
They're the two areas that upset people the most, so we avoid them in these conversations.
Yeah.
But everything else goes pretty much. But yeah.
I'm not
So
into politics.
do you want to see my very first ever 3D print?
Sure.
I
Would you
still
like?
have it to this day, and I still use it. My very first ever 3D print was an SD card holder for my micro SD cards. The first
Very
thing I
nice.
ever printed. And I still use it. It's on my desk, and I still use this very one. I found one online that wasn't great, so I actually tweaked it. I tweaked the settings a little bit.
Mhm.
But it came with the cheap, the standard, silky white PLA that comes with a printer when you first get your printer. Oh, you have the similar. Okay, yeah. Mine actually has the cards. It can take more cards. Mine actually has the cards laid out around the outside.
Yeah.
I forgot
Yours
mine
more
came with
efficient.
white filament, and I ended up printing this cube. So it
Oh, you
sits
had
on my desk.
multicolor.
Yeah, I ended up with the multicolor stuff, so I just printed with that, and I was like, okay, here
Well,
you go.
did you measure that cube?
Yeah, like I have what do you call it? Like giant.
Oh, I need one of
Caliper.
those. Mine's
Oh
broken.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I got all the fun toys and stuff, and it like you go like this, and it's gonna be in the
I made
wrong
myself
thing.
a home version.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, the idea of the calibration cube that you printed was to measure the dimensional accuracy of your X, Y, and Z axis.
Yep.
So if your X, Y, and Z, the other way you calibrate your E steps.
Oh yeah, no, I know all the fun calibration stuff. This
Okay.
cube is perfectly square and basically within the error tolerance of that caliper.
Yeah. So
I also
if you
learned to
haven't,
print them smaller.
yeah.
They
Well,
take a lot less time.
it's not. Well, anything less than 10 millimeters is pointless. The bigger it is, the more accurate your readings are.
Yeah.
Because for every millimeter, it could be off by 0.0001 or whatever, something small, or 0.01 of a millimeter. But when you go to 100 millimeters, then you can tell
It
how
makes a big
much it
difference.
really is off. So what I do is I might start with a calibration cube. If it looks pretty good, I would leave it. If I find out there's a fair bit off, like a millimeter or more, if it's less than a millimeter, it's okay, pretty much, right? If it's a millimeter or more, then you need to calibrate your E steps on your other axis. And now calibrating your E step, your E steps for your extruder, you do it to air, never through the nozzle, right?
Yeah.
So you actually you take off the nozzle, you do east, you set E, you let it come out and you measure it, right? Or you measure it before it goes into the nozzle to make sure it does 100 millimeters.
Yeah, I took off the Bowden tube. That's how I did it for the Bowden tube ones. For the direct drive one, I'm still trying to figure that one out. But
easy.
It seems to be
Here's a direct drive one. Here's how you do the direct drive, right?
Okay.
So on a direct drive, from the very top of the extruder,
yeah,
right? Because you want it to extrude, right? And it won't extrude until the hot end is hot.
Yeah.
So just one thing, whoever just joined, we have people out there. If you want to come join the conversation, you can click on that link, and I'll bring you into the conversation if you wish to. This is a StreamYard link. But on a direct drive, you don't have the Bowden option to measure after the extruder. Right. So what you do is you measure up. Maybe I would measure up maybe from the top of the extruder of the where your filament goes in. Measure up maybe 20 millimeters and put a mark, and then from that 20 millimeters, measure another 100, right?
Okay.
And the reason why you do that is you send it into the extruder, you print 100 millimeters, and whenever it stops, the distance from that to the next line should be 20 millimeters. Yeah. Right? Because you already had 20 millimeters already there. And if it's not 20 millimeters, if it's more or less, now you know how good you know how much it's off. Now, for measuring your X, Y, and Z, what I like to use is I get a pin, an actual sewing pin, and I tape it onto this for the X and Y. I tape it onto my my nozzle head, my hot end. So it's a little bit of a small bit above the bed by a fraction, maybe a
Okay.
couple of millimeters above the bed. And I put a sheet of paper down and I hold it down with painter's tape,
Okay.
and I put a mark where it is, and then I'll tell it to move 100 millimeters in one axis,
Okay.
and I mark it, and then I use my calipers to measure that, and then the same for the Y, forward and back. I
Mhm.
would actually put a mark somewhere, get it to move forward 100 millimeters, and put a mark and measure it, and then do the math to figure out. Now on a Z, it's different. On the
Mhm.
Z, I would actually put a needle on the Z gantry itself,
Okay.
or on my x-axis, and put a mark on the Z gantry, like a little, like a like you use whiteout or something, a little mark, and then get it. But I'd start at the top and move down first, and I'd move
Mhm.
down 100 millimeters, and I put a mark, and I'd measure the distance from the mark to the second one, and
Yeah,
then
and
move
then move
up
back.
again and make sure it hits the exact same mark. If it doesn't, then you
Yeah.
know your E-steps are slightly off.
Yeah. No.
'Cause
I have it where the Arion 2 printers the Arion branded printers actually have
I've never
marks
used them.
on them. Yeah, no,
I've never used those.
they're a relatively new company. They've had the Thinkers series for a couple of years. They're just starting to take off, but they just came out with the ER20, which is what I just got because they sent me. I have the first one from Canada.
Oh, everyone. That's ERYONE. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry,
So
I misunderstood. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
know. I know that company. Yeah.
yeah. So I got the ER20 that I just did the unboxing video for. I'm currently doing the review. So I'm trying to push it through stuff. As I said, I'm waiting for the TPU so I can do the Ming
You're
to finish that
lucky.
off.
You're lucky as you're getting review machines when you're only printing for a few months, because that's very, very rare.
Oh,
Most
okay.
people get review machines who've been printing for years because they rely on experience to analyze what's gone wrong and give that
Ah,
feedback.
yeah.
So
I went with I
you,
have a master's degree in engineering.
well, that always helps.
Yeah.
But I'm
There's a
just
certain
saying.
point of like the amount of stuff that I have fixed and tinkered
Mhm.
with and whatever else in my career. These things are child's play.
I know, but still, it's rare. They normally would do review machines with someone who has been in the printing arena for a long time, um, someone who's made a name for themselves out there helping people and guiding people.
Hmm.
Um, like I know some people who have, like, there's one guy I chat with regularly. I know him. Um, he has something like 45 or 48 printers at home, and
Hmm.
another 200 in warehouse, because he's done reviews for so many years. Um,
Yeah.
what I do with my review machines, I rarely keep them. I keep a review machine if it's something I don't have, or it
Hmm.
has a feature I really want. Um,
Yeah.
I generally donate mine to schools. So
Yeah. Well.
I only have 6 printers at home. Um, Overall, I've had hands on with more. Um, but I like to donate them out to somebody who'll use them. So a school that has a robotics club, they'll use it for printing parts, right?
Yeah.
A school like I design and stuff for the blind, so I might even donate to the schools for the blind, so they can actually print stuff out for the students, tactile stuff. But I do design stuff for the blind. Um,
Well, when I get up to a couple more printers, I'll be coming up with creative ways to make the printers disappear because obviously I don't have unlimited space. And as similar to you, I'll probably donate a couple of them. I might do a giveaway or something like that.
yeah, but
But
the problem about giveaways is,
they're nuts.
if it's a release product, right?
Yeah.
If it's a release product,
Hmm.
a giveaway is fine because um, it's an off-the-shelf product.
Hmm.
If we're doing beta testing for a product that's never been released before,
Yeah.
which I've done some, um, you the problem with those is there could be flaws in them.
Hmm.
They could need work, and
Hmm.
I try and repair them and get them to where they should be to release product before I donate them. But some of those, depending on the agreement with the company that you're with, they may turn out to you and say you can never give this to somebody,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that
No.
does happen. So if you're doing pre-release or already released product and you're doing a public review, that's
Hmm.
fine. But if you're doing something that is beta release, that is not that they're still tweaking,
Hmm.
chances are you're never allowed to donate them to anybody or give them away.
No, if I ever got one of those things, either A, I'd continue using it, or B, I'd eventually and nobody, no companies hear this, shh, sort of thing. But no, I'd probably just take it apart and then use it for parts.
Well, you can. I try and actually, what I try and do is I try to fix them. So yeah, so that guy Jacob, uh, you should actually put him in touch. I'm sure he has Facebook. You should put him in touch. Get him to come in and join the group. That would be kind of interesting. If he's printing stuff for the blind, I'd like to know what he's doing, because I do a lot of physics and astronomy stuff, tactile stuff for the blind. So if he has other stuff, I wouldn't mind figuring out what he does. Because I don't charge for it. I donate everything I make. I've never made a penny out of my printers ever. I've never made money on them. I do everything I do, like for the blind and so on. I donate. For COVID, I donated thousands of face shields. I've never made a penny on it. But if he has stuff that he would like to share the designs with me, that I could use and offer up to schools in the region, again, I'll be printing them for free and donating them. But you should put him in touch with me. But yeah, because I'm big into that. I like that kind of stuff. So as I said, I might try and start making some money with the printers, because I have a fair set of printers and I'm getting more coming in. And if I can put them to work where they make money, I might consider doing that. But my primary goal is to help companies make better product.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's what I want to do. And I do
Same
that
here.
by doing beta reviews.
That's cool.
I think Matt fell asleep.
Matt wandered off at some point. I don't know where he went.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, he's
I'm
there.
just checking
Still
out
there.
He's
the
there.
dogs. I can
He's
talk
snoo-
over my headset.
Oh
so-
no! I heard you snoring. Come on, admit it.
No. I swear.
Oh,
I know
come on.
I have 3 o'clock in the morning here, but
Yeah, if someone wants to come in and join the conversation, I just posted the StreamYard link. Who's out there? If you want to come in and join the conversation, you're more than
and
welcome.
I'm sorry that I sometimes get off screen because
No, you're
Well, that's
busy because
okay.
you're printing right now.
Yeah, you're
You-
printing. I'm off because I got a rainstorm, and I'm like, if I start printing, I guarantee the electricity's gonna go boom.
UPS.
I have one of those, and it's currently plugged into the computer, and the computer already gets close to maxing it out.
Oh, well, a computer draws more power than a printer does,
Oh, I know it
Yeah.
does by a
Far
long
more
shot.
Maybe
power.
50 watts.
or less, depending on what you're printing. If you're printing really high temperature materials, it'll draw more because you need to heat the bed to a lot higher temp, and you need to heat the nozzle to a higher temp. But when you're printing PLA, the power draw is much lower.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Yeah. I pay something like 70 quid a month, and that's including everything else, electric,
Yeah.
like fridge, cooker,
Well, I
and
Yeah, I got the 3D printers, and the electricity that we're using here, like, didn't really go up or down, sort of outside the scheme of what we normally pay for, like, each month.
Yeah, I'm the same, and I run 6 of them.
There you go.
And I often run, like, if I'm running, I have 6 of them here, but like I could run up to 7 or 8, because if I got 2 beta machines in to be tested, or 2 review machines, I do the unboxing of them, but then I'll go back and I'll be running them for a week or two doing prints. I'd run maybe 5 or 6 various different types of prints through them. I might do a vase mode, I might do a tall print, I might do something with lots of overhangs. I'll do a variety of stuff. And based on that, I will actually give my review based on the quality of the print, right? Without doing any tweaks, without doing any settings. I never change anything. I print it as is, and then based on that, that's what I go with, right? And that's what I review on, because we can all tweak. We could tweak the greatest load of trash to print like a princess, right?
Oh,
But
absolutely.
with enough to, because you understand the physics and you understand the dynamics of how stuff works, right?
Yeah.
Unless your rails are twisted and warped, you can make anything print well. With enough finessing, right? But the true review of a printer is, I'm going to send it. I'm going to level the bed. I'm going to heat the hot end, and as long as it's stable at temperature. If it's not stable, I'll do a PID tune. But if it's not a stabilized temperature, then I'll print. and
Yeah.
I'll print, and I'll print, and I'll print some more. And if it keeps printing continuously good, it doesn't have to be fantastic. If it
Mhm.
prints good, I can tweak the settings to make it better. If it prints, eh, then there means a bit more work needs to be done. Like you have you have some Z banding or whatever. That means you have binding on your Z screws or whatever. That
Mhm.
means mechanical issues need to be addressed.
Yeah.
But if I can get decent prints out of a printer um, natively without doing too much tweaking,
Mhm.
I might tweak some Cura settings, which is what we do, but I won't do physical changes to the printer to
Yeah.
see if it'll give me good quality. And if it does, then it's a good printer. And obviously,
Yeah.
I go through the safety checks and stuff. I'll
Yeah.
do the pot testing. I'll do a POTS test. I'll do voltage checks on your stepper motors to make sure the right voltage is going through them. I
Mhm.
will do um, I'll do stuff like I will test thermal overrun.
Mhm.
So whoever's on, if you want to join the conversation, we won't be on for very much longer because it's already 10:14 for me. But if you want to come in and join, please click on that StreamYard link I just posted in chat. You can join the conversation. I'll
Yeah.
be here for maybe 15, 20 minutes more roughly because we've been on for over 2 hours already. I've been on for 2 hours, 15 minutes. So
Time
we'll do a
flies.
little bit. We have a
We
few
have
more people
fun.
joining. So again, those who want to join the
Oh,
conversation, you can click on the StreamYard link that I just posted and come in and join the conversation. So it's so you'd go through. I'd go through all of that. Actually go through the safety of a product as well. But
Mhm.
you initially start with, does it work?
Mhm.
Assemble, follow the instructions out of the box. Can they be understood? Can it be tested? Does it print? If it prints fine, you're good. Somebody's tired. He's yawning in the camera. The puppy.
No,
And
oh yeah, the puppy's like, hey, how's it going? No,
yeah,
for me, I like how you're like follow the instructions. I went for the ER20. I didn't even read the instructions. I
well, you
just sort of
don't.
went
Well,
and did
speak
it.
for us. We don't. No, I understand. But see, you have to you have to look at the point of view of the end user.
Hmm.
Somebody who's never used a 3D printer before, who's got a new printer delivered to their house
Yeah.
for Christmas or a birthday, or hell, I just want to try 3D printing.
Hmm.
Um, and like most of us are mechanically adept enough to put stuff together without instructions, right?
Yep.
But someone who does not have that knowledge, who wants to do 3D printing and buys a 3D printer, they're going to read the instructions line by line and follow those
Yeah.
instructions.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
know.
your feedback on a
I did this
review,
first.
yeah. Well, I don't. I never read the instructions, but I use the instructions for one reason.
Hmm.
If I'm printing and I'm following the instructions, I'm
You'll
acting like someone who knows nothing. And if
yeah.
the instructions doesn't guide me correctly, that's something I take note of and give feedback on. Right?
Hmm. Oh yeah. No,
This
I
language,
I've
your verbiage here is wrong. It needs to be changed to this.
yeah.
Then you go into doing the setting up of the printer. You've built your printer. Then you're going to you follow the instructions of how to bed
Mhm.
level. If they're good, fine. If they're bad, you note it. You take note of that. And
Yeah.
then you're going to be doing a print from the SD card. Now, any company that does not provide a file on the SD card tells me they've never tested to optimize the print settings on their printer, because the SD card, like the G code files you get on the
Hmm.
SD card, to me, that should be, I'm the manufacturer. I've sliced this. My engineers have sliced this so you get the perfect print, like a perfect benchy, right? But
Yeah.
if you run it through and you get a really bad quality benchy or a really bad quality print, like, or they're not giving you a pre-sliced file, that should show the end user this
Hmm.
is what this printer is capable of. And if it
Yep.
doesn't do that, then there's something wrong.
Yeah.
They're not doing their job as a manufacturer. Now, if it does do that, and then you go off and slice your own and you don't get that print quality, then okay, I know the printer is capable of A, I'm getting
Hmm.
B because my settings are wrong, so I can tweak them. Or what I could always do is go over and cheat. Excuse me. You can always cheat and open the G code file and find out the settings from the manufacturer's G code, and then put those into your slicer
Yep.
and use that as your profile and see if you get really good quality prints. But that's how you should do a review. I think if you're doing a review and you're not following it like an end user.
Mhm.
Like I know nothing. I'm technically inept. Give me the instructions. Tell me what screw goes where, and how to use it, and how to put every little piece together. That's a review.
Yep.
So the ones that you have coming up, that's how you should approach them. I think anyway.
Oh, absolutely. I just put these things together, and I'm like, let's see how this actually works. I don't have enough knowledge to sit there and say, let's figure out little tiny errors. Like I can figure stuff out because I've looked at this enough. But like
Yeah.
if I'm like, yeah, I'm having problems, I'm like, yeah, I'm having problems. It's clear in the video I'm having problems. The first unboxing I did, I built the whole thing. I did it as a live video. I think that was what 5.5 to 6 hours of watch Graham try to put together a printer
Really? 6 hours?
because I didn't know what I was doing because it was the first
Yeah.
one.
This is why you should follow
Well,
the instructions. Now, the newer printers today, most
yeah,
newer printers today, they come in two pieces,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
put gantry A on base B, stick in two bolts into it, plug A, B, C, D, E, and F together. You're done.
Yeah,
Um,
that took me probably 2 hours to do. I had to figure out how to do bed leveling, and then the print itself took about 2 hours. And then I did a little bit at the end where I'm like, okay, well, here's what I got. This freaking 2 hour cube. Let's measure it out and see how it looks. And then at that point, I got tired and turned off the stream.
well,
After
yeah.
saying
Well,
thank you for watching, for anyone who made it
I
that far.
do. I will do an unboxing
Yeah.
live,
Okay.
like we're doing here, but it's just me streaming out. I will do an
Yeah.
unboxing live. Um, I would do a review, not live, because I want
Yeah.
to print lots of prints.
Well, that's what I'm doing
I'll,
for this other one here. I
mhm.
videotaped it. I did edit it because I had some lighting issues because the light went down. But yeah, so I ended up I was originally going to do it live, then I was like, no, put it together, and then do that. The other ones, I'm just going to do the reviews of the printer. They didn't want an unboxing, so I was like, okay.
Well, some people do want the unboxing, but like if it's a beta printer, they may not want it online at all. They just want to go get your feedback.
Yeah.
If it's a new product that's been released and they want a review of it, then you should do an unboxing and show people how it goes together. Unless they specifically say don't do an unboxing. But most people do unboxing videos
Uh-huh.
because there's good and bad in the unboxing. The unboxing videos take a long time. But the
Mhm.
good side of an unboxing video is someone who's never built a printer before, they can watch what you're doing. If they get one of those printers, they can watch
Mhm.
how you assemble it, what issues you came across, how you corrected it.
Yep.
I've had a printer that I've done an unboxing for, and the print on the labels for the cable was so small I could not read
Mhm.
it. Now I don't have I don't have amazing eyesight, but I'm
Mhm.
telling you, like I wear glasses, right? Like
Yeah.
you do. But I'm telling you, yeah, I have goggles too, right? But
Yeah.
they when the label is printed so small that it's like subscript on it
Mhm.
at the hidden in the bottom. Yeah, he's got a magnifying glass, or he's got
Yeah.
the thing. Yeah, no, but I mean,
Microscope.
if it's
Yeah.
so small that you can't actually see it, you like subscript in a contract where they're trying to
Mhm.
hide a clause saying that they'll own you, your family, and your firstborn child, right? When you have that kind of subscript size text,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
deal
it's
with
like the
legal a
one
lot of my
printer.
job.
Yeah, like the one printer I had here. I unboxed it, and in the video, I say, "Hey, look, here's some spare pieces," because they literally fell out of the box, and I'm like, I had to figure out where they went, put it all together. And I'm going like, so I told the company after I finished the video and posted, I sent them a message saying, "Hey guys, you need to make sure that your Q&A, screws things in a little bit better than they did." So
Yeah, they normally use torque wrenches when they're putting all that together. They normally have a torque settings on the screwdrivers. They're
you
normally
think
powered.
so?
They're never done by hand. They're always powered, and
Yeah.
they always have torque settings. But if you don't put it in exactly right,
Well,
like a torque screwdriver will, if you drive it right, a torque
yeah, I know.
screwdriver you'll get it the right torque on the screw. But
Hmm.
if you're slightly off, just sitting inside in the screw hole without
Hmm.
even driving it, you'll get a torque rating,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, no,
So
no. So for these guys here, it was I had to go through the ER20, and a lot of the stuff needed to be tightened down a little bit. So I don't know what they did because it was again the first run. Like as I said, I got the first one here in Canada. The
yeah,
US, I think about maybe 10 to 20 of them had been out in the wild before I was able to get mine. But yeah, no, it's one of those things where you're like, somebody there needs to, like, screw this down a little bit more. Same thing, they had it where they had a couple people had to go and check because they had it where the ribbon cables for the screen were coming out because they were so loosely pushed in. So they actually had to build a bracket that they're putting in all the new printers that are coming out. That's going to make sure you hold those cables in, because it was like, this is a little loose, guys.
Have you seen the? I know I keep going. I've mentioned it before. Have you
Mhm.
seen the way the JG Maker Artist D is labeled?
I have not seen how it's labeled.
It comes in two pieces.
Okay.
You have two long bolts. They don't give you these small Allen keys. They have one really big, hefty Allen key to assemble the frame.
Okay.
Proper Allen key, right, with a hand
Yeah.
grip, right?
Yeah. Okay.
The one cool thing is their connectors are actually ribbon cables, but it's not the
Okay.
hard plastic. It's a kind of softer material, so
Mhm.
they don't break as easy. But the connectors are ribbon cables, and the cables are labeled A, B, and on the printer is A, B. So you plug
Right.
A in and B in. You go to the other part, you plug in C and D
And D.
and
Yeah.
E and F and G. Like, I mean, big labels, round sticker labels
Mhm.
telling you what goes where. I mean, it's like, the thing is, assembly is idiot proof, right? It's that easy. I've never seen. They're the only ones I've seen who've labeled a printer in that way, and I mean,
Well,
it is super easy to assemble.
yeah, like the Arian ones, you only have to plug in the one bunch of cables, so they're labeled where they're supposed to go. The only issue that
Mm.
you have is that you have to look at the instructions if you don't know what you're doing, to make sure you know that this board is the x-axis, this is the z-axis, because God help you if you plug those.
Yeah, but you don't even have that with the Artist D. You don't have any of that.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies now, they're starting to move towards using something like a HDMI cable
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
connect stuff.
I've heard
Now,
about
there's
that.
good and bad in that.
Yeah.
The good in that is it's easy to take care of. But if you ever mod your printer, you've got a problem. You
Oh,
can't mod when everything's fed via HDMI cable.
yeah.
It
Well,
becomes
that's
really difficult to mod, because what they're doing is, you have the single feed coming in, and it goes
Mhm.
into a daughter board.
Yep.
And the daughter board, everything's fed off the daughter board, and
Mhm.
that can be okay. But you have to, if you want to put in a new hot end, you have to rewire all of this, make up
Mhm.
their own wires with the right connectors to plug it in.
Yeah.
And that's okay if you're electrically or mechanically inept, or if you're not electrically or mechanically inept. But if you are inept and you do not know anything about them, you're going to struggle to make any mods to your printer.
Yeah.
So
No. It's,
whoever just joined, if you want to come in, whoever just joined to observe, you want to come in and join the conversation, we'll be here for a small while more. I just posted a link there for StreamYard. You can click on that link and come in and join the conversation. If not, since you just ran away, I'll take it you don't want to talk to us. That's fine. I showered today. I don't smell. But well, Matt didn't shower.
Just for the
That's
record,
good,
I
man.
did
That's
shower
good.
today.
Yeah. So we all know Matt did not shower today, so he's stinking. But let's say one thing.
I
It's
was
early in the
just
morning for
joking.
Matt. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's very early in the morning for you. It's what
exactly.
was it 3:30 in the morning?
Probably about 4 now.
Yes, 3:30 in the morning now.
4:30. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So
I think that's one of the things that like I've been looking at a lot of printers, like when I started doing this back in the summer and looking at which ones to sort of get and whatnot. I think you're seeing the industry moving a lot more to what can we put in our printers to make it easier for the beginners, versus what are we putting in our printers that's going to be easy to modify. And I don't
well,
mean like modify as in
I
like 3D
agree.
something, but like if you start talking about like electrically modifying something like that, like a lot of these new printers, the boards, the cables, the combined stuff like that, that
They need
makes
to
it
be
harder to
idiot
mod. But again, it's idiot proof. So you
Wait,
have to,
no. Wait, no. You're an engineer,
yeah,
right? And what happens when you make something idiot-proof?
idiots break it.
No, they go out and design better idiots, right? They go out and design and build better idiots, right?
Oh,
So you
absolutely.
can never make stuff idiot-proof. I don't like using that term, right? Idiot-proof. I think you try and make it as user-friendly as possible, which is probably the right term you're looking for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry.
And I agree, stuff should be user-friendly. I try, and that's why I look at everything from the point of view, even my day job, I look at
Mhm.
everything from the point of view of the end user, someone who's using an application, someone who's using a system. what's their point of view, how they see it. Like, I've never had one of these before. I get the book, I open it up, I'm following the instructions. What do the instructions tell me to do? Does it make sense? And if it doesn't make sense, that's a ding, as far as I'm concerned. If
Mhm.
it's there's a lot of the overseas companies, like not only Chinese but over other overseas companies
Mhm.
who do not get um, their
Instructions.
documentation translated by someone who is a native speaker or who's a native speaker of both languages, like Chinese and English, or French and English, and French and German, or whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
If you do not, or if you're not what's deemed to be a native or close to native speaker,
Yeah.
you cannot translate using Google Translate. Google Translate is good, but it's not accurate, not
Mhm.
always accurate. You cannot translate in that way, and um, a lot of manuals out there are written. I hate to use this term as well because it's kind of derogatory, but it's Chinese version of English, because and or other language and English. Like in Singapore, they call their English their version of English. They call it Singlish, and the people there natively call it Singlish, right? Because they
Mhm.
mix English and they mix Hokkien and they mix some Chinese, and so it's a kind of
Well,
combination. But
the
um,
issue you have with some of those translations is that you're going from sort of a font, like English is a very phonic language, and we have like it's Germanic basic, but it's like it's how words and all this stuff go together. Whereas for them, they're often off a symbol, or they're off of the tense and stuff like that do adjust
well,
what
yeah,
you're trying
yeah,
to
well,
say.
yes, that
So
is
when you
true.
try to
That changes.
translate that, it can get kind of cringy when you're talking about like new technology, which
That's
reuses a lot of words that.
that's why I think they need to have someone who is they need to get a service that does
Mhm,
professional translations to do it for them, because like I've seen some that didn't even make sense at all. I've
mhm,
seen others that kind of made sense if you understood what was going on, but for
mhm.
someone who's never used a printer or who's never had one of these, it's a whole new world for them, and they needed it to be precise for them.
Yeah.
Good guides. And I think whoever is writing it and translating it, they also need to see it happening on a printer. So you could send it to me in one language, and I translate it to another language. But unless I see it happening, the way I
Mhm,
translate it may not match what actually is done. I'd like to be able to
mhm.
see it happen, then I can put your actions into proper words in
Yeah.
that native language, whatever that language is. So
Well,
that is, I think, is a better way it should be done, and it needs to happen more and more.
yeah. Well, as I agree with you on that one. It should be like, you get somebody who's a native English speaker or a native French speaker or native German speaker, get them in the room with you and say, I'm going to put this together, and you write down the instructions. Here's our blueprint that we've already made for our native language, and just fill in the blanks with the words that you have
Yeah,
that you've
short bullet
seen us
points.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Because
I think, and they're getting it. Like, they are, more and more companies are reaching out to the communities to help them translate.
yeah.
Um, but even then, reaching out to the community is one thing, but it's also it's good to have a professional service
Yes,
assist them,
absolutely.
because um, half done or um, incorrect verbiage can really throw somebody off when they're trying to build something, even if they're native English speakers. As an
Mhm.
example, English speakers, um, you could be a native English speaker, but you're not technically minded. So if they use technical terms, it means nothing to them.
Yeah.
If you are a
Well, that's why you have
um,
technical writers, because that's literally what their job is to take the text speak and then take all that technical stuff and actually put it into English and say anyone who reads this is going to know what the heck is going on.
yeah, and the way
That's
to
the idea.
test it is to bring in someone who knows nothing about 3D printers and say, "Here, follow these instructions, build one for
Yeah.
me."
Yeah.
Don't ask questions. If you get stuck and you have to ask me a question, it means I need to change my documentation,
Yep.
and that's the way it should be done. But all right, guys,
I
it's
like IKEA.
10. Go on, Matt.
They have good. I like IKEA. They have good assembly manuals.
Well, yes, it should be like IKEA, because a 3D printer, if it's not already assembled as a full unit, then
Yeah.
you have to put it together. And if you have to put anything together, there should be detailed instructions.
Yeah.
Take A, plug it into B, use screw C, tighten it down so it's hand tight. Okay. Um, that type of stuff should be in there. That's how instructions should be. If they're not in that manner, then people who are not native speakers will struggle.
Mhm.
And people who are not technically has no technical strength but want to trying to get into playing with 3D printing,
Mhm.
they'll struggle. So the
Oh,
outcome
and
is support calls or,
yeah.
oh, this is not working. I'm done with this printer. I'm
I'm
going
gonna
to
toss
throw it
it.
out
Yeah.
my window. I'm going to throw it under a truck and smash it up. And all that
Or
you see these conversations on the forums all the time.
oh yeah, how do I level my bed? How do I level my bed? How do I level my bed? Oh wait. You know what? How do I level my bed? Because I really like. I cannot believe how many people post that each day on some of
I
the
just
forums.
recorded a video of that today. I'm not only bed leveling, but the basics, as if you
Yeah,
got a printer just delivered and you
yeah,
just follow the instructions and assemble it. What do you do to get you to the point where you can do your first print off the SD card that came with the printer?
yeah,
And I've actually recorded a video today, and I'm going to be editing it and publishing it over the weekend on my YouTube channel
yeah.
to say so people are going to be getting printers for
Right
Christmas.
here, everybody, like and subscribe.
Well, yes, like, subscribe here, and you can, and once I have it published, probably at the end of sometime over the weekend, I'll publish it. Anybody asks how do I level my bed? You can say go to this video, jump through it to when he's showing the part of leveling the bed. You'll find him. You'll see the piece of paper in his hand.
Oh, that's what I've
Right?
been doing as well. Just make the videos, and when people ask, you're like, and here's the link, and here's the link.
That's what you
I
I
have
level
do
to
that
do.
my
for
bed like
so
that. I
much
use
stuff
a
in
blanket to
astronomy.
level my
Here's
bed.
the link.
You know how to level your bed, do you?
Yeah, I know how to level my bed.
But it's
I use
3 a.m.
a
in the morning.
blanket.
He doesn't know. Yeah, but it's 3:30 in the morning. He still doesn't know how to lie in his own bed, though. But he knows how to level a bed in the printer.
Yeah, I level my bed when I go lay in my bed.
Yeah, but see, so like I think instructional videos like that are really good, and especially, and I know people have done these before, right?
Yeah.
But when people are searching, they don't want to see a video that's 4 years old.
Well, it's also there's a certain point of if I'm sharing a video that I made or if somebody I know has made recently, it's up to date, it's to their printer. But also, if they watch that video and then they come back and say, "Okay, I looked at your video and I couldn't figure out X, Y, Z," then you can sit there and say, "Aha! I now need to make a better video to show that." But also, they can come back to you and ask because all the big YouTubers, that's one of the biggest issues with them. They'll make a video and it's 4 years old, but you could ask a question of how do I do this, or I ran into this one little problem. They'll never respond to you.
Yeah, well, see, and I try. My thing is to try and address some of that. Um, but like you can't answer all the questions because there's so many
Yeah.
questions out there, and people ask the same question in 50 different ways.
Oh yeah.
And
That's
the one
true.
thing, other thing I say is, if you get 100 people who claim they know 3D printing, and put
Mhm.
them in a room and ask them a question, you're going to get 300 answers,
Yeah.
right? Because they're all going to have multiple answers to the same question. They're going to have three different answers. So 100 people, one question, 300 answers is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So I know how I do it my way. I know how
Mhm.
my way works. I know how it's successful for me.
Mhm.
I almost never get failed prints. I almost never get bed adhesion problems. I
Mhm.
almost like I can print on the same printer 50 prints and I'll nail it 50 times in a row.
That's pretty
Right?
You
good.
want to see
I've
my
got it
failures
tuned in.
in the last 4 months?
Sorry?
Those are my failures in the last 4 months.
So there's a
I
picture of
have
his
because
face. I feel bad, but okay.
Yeah, I rarely have them. I rarely have them. I have it well tuned. Um, I 3D printed a bucket, and I call it my
This
bucket
is
of failed
basically all
hopes
failed
and
prints.
dreams. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
in the
don't have
last
that
Okay.
many.
4 months. No,
Yeah, I
this
don't
has
have that many.
happened when power failure was.
Well, see,
I have
my
power
fail and
failures.
resume actually works. My fail and
Yeah, but
my fail on or resume on power failure works for me. I've done it a few times and it works fine.
That's good.
Um, but like I've done many different things and I rarely get failed prints. Because I do proper prep on my bed before I print.
Mhm.
I do proper leveling of my bed to make sure everything's good. Um, I know my settings for the materials that I have. Because I'm doing that, it's rare I'll get a print fail, and sometimes it could be. I found one failure in the last few weeks actually, and it was because of I use a filament type I haven't used before.
Mhm.
Here, there's a Ron. Let me bring Ron in. Ron, you
Sorry
joined
about
in the
that.
last minute, and we're not going to
Hey.
be here for much longer. So
That's okay. It's my computer just decided that no, I don't want to connect to the video camera. It didn't want to connect to audio. It was just being meh. Had
Probably
to
that's
wanted
because
unplug
to get
all
it
the.
updated.
it knew it's because it was you that was coming on. You see, it says I'm going to give that guy a hard time.
Well, no, it was. I had to unplug all my USB, replug it all back in, reboot like 3 times, troubleshooting. Ugh.
Well, that's
Uh,
fun.
That's what you
Oh,
call
that's
stuck in
yeah, but it's annoying when you're trying to log in when it was working like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I skipped the troubleshooting, Ron, and I was just like, let's just stick to the head bike tonight.
So, but I'm just saying, like we're talking about getting your printers tuned in. Like it's so rare I have fails anymore. And I was saying the last one I had, I used a material that I've never used before, and if I got a failure, it was trying to print on thin air. It actually stopped printing. There was nothing coming out.
Mhm.
And when I went and checked it, it was a test spool of material I was given,
Mhm.
and the diameter of the filament was off. It was too big and got
That'll do it.
stuck in my Bowden tube.
Oh, I hate when that happens. I've gotten
Now,
filament
I rarely
that
have
does
that
that.
though. I
Yeah.
rarely have that. Now, and it was a new sample of a material that I was testing. I won't mention the company name. I told them what was wrong. They have to go do their QA. Um, but I tested this material, and the diameter was 1.82. It went up to. That was so I went from 1 point, like normally it's 1.75.
Yeah.
It was off by so much that it actually got stuck because I use Capricorn XS, which is really tight tolerance,
Mhm.
and it actually got stuck in the Bowden tube. It got jammed in the Bowden tube, and
Yeah,
that's why my print
I don't
failed.
use their XS. I think I'm on their other one, which is a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah, no, I like the XS because even with the XS, I can do TPU prints.
I've been able to get TPU prints out of mine too, so maybe I am
Yeah,
running
well,
SX. Maybe.
it depends on
Hmm.
it depends on the shore hardness of your TPU. If you're using really soft material, you need a tight tolerance because if there's any movement at all, it's like as I say, as I use the term, it's like pushing a rope. Pushing a rope. If you have any if the rope fits the tube perfectly, you can actually push it in a straight line. If it doesn't fit the tube perfectly, the rope kinks a little bit. Now it's gonna you build up pressure behind it, and what's gonna happen, even with pressure, because it's so soft, it's gonna fold over on itself and actually jam itself. Going to cross the tube, so you actually get a jam.
I've been lucky it hasn't done that. I'm running so I might be running SX. I am using Ninja Flex TPU.
That's shore hardness of 95. So then you're probably using the excess tubing
Yeah.
because Ninja Flex and it also depends on the length of your Bowden, because the longer a Bowden tube, the more chances of the really flexible like Ninja Flex to actually cause problems. Now on a direct drive that's not an issue, but on a Bowden tube, um, you need the shorter the Bowden tube, the better for soft materials. What type of printer are you printing it on?
CR10 with a V6 nozzle.
That's probably what is it? 14 or 15-inch strip of Bowden tube.
Now, well, basically the way I measured it out was take the printer to the end, measure exactly what I need of Bowden, snap, and then put it in.
Well, what I do is I would move your extruder to the top of my X gantry or my Z gantry, because then the Bowden tube is always straight down to the nozzle as it moves over and back.
Yeah,
Then
well,
you have less problems with because if you have the Bowden tube going out and it's bending, you're introducing the ability for the flexible materials to run into issues. Whereas if you take the extruder off the side carriage on like the crealities and move it to the top of the Z-axis, now the Bowden tube is straight down into the print head, and so as it prints, and then what I do is I'll then put a filament guide, and I mount uh, my spool off the printer.
Well-
That way, then it's a straighter feed straight down into it.
there's some changes going on to the CR10 anyways to begin with. I am moving it over to a direct drive soon.
Are you using the micro Swiss adapter, the aluminum adapter, or are you changing the head totally?
I have already on, so right now on the printer, The head's already been changed to a V6 nozzle, to V6 with a 0.6 nozzle, nozzle X.
Okay.
Bowden, and I got Capricorn tubing on it. So the motor and the extruder is sitting on the Z axis. So as you raise up your Z, it's matching. So I wasn't too concerned about. So I know that I can use very little Bowden tube as I need. And the spool is actually sitting on top of the blah blah blah. Yeah, now I'm having brain freeze. I changed out the original little mount that they had for your spool, and I went to a tush for that because I've been getting spools that are either too long or they just don't fit nicely on the little rack. So I decided to change it over to a tush, which works better. So that's my whole setup right now. And that's going to get, like I said, I want to move it over to a direct drive. And I'm actually thinking of, once I'm ready, I'm going to change that thing to a 24-volt system. And then I'm going to probably do one more change, which is going to make it a Core XY.
Well, that's
a big change.
A Core XY, but no, and the Ender 10 is, but it's the CR10 is not a box, so you can't do a Core XY in a box.
If
it's not a box.
Exactly. So it's going to be turned into a.
Oh, you're going to build it into a Q frame?
He's talking about major change.
Oh, okay, that's different. Then you could do Core XY,
yeah, it'll be 310 by 310 by 400.
Yeah, because the Core XY requires the X-axis to be moving, and the Z-axis to come up to the X and Y.
Exactly.
Like you have on my Ender 5 Plus. If I could turn that into Core XY if I wanted to, but I haven't. But I may at some point. But I'm thinking about. I'm contemplating the idea of building a 1 meter cubed Core XY myself. And if I do that, if I do a 1 meter cubed, I'll do a Core XY, and I'm going to do it with four Z screws. But I'm not going to have 4 motors. I'm actually going to strap the motors together with belts. That way, but put in a NEMA, instead of using a NEMA 17, put in a NEMA 23 motor to control my Z-axis, because it has more torque. And that way then it can drive all 4 screws, and then just belt them together using idlers. That way then when one moves, they all move in sync.
So basically an H pattern. That's how you move 4 belts in the same direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my plan. I was even thinking about tying them together by building a gear system, and have the one motor onto the gear, and have each gear, then have that feed the other gears off in an X pattern off it. So one gear will move, and all the other 4 screws will move in tandem because they're driven off a central gear system.
Yeah, the only issue I have with that is that you're going to have play in every single connection.
No, not if they're spring-mounted gears.
All right.
If spring-mounted gears, if the gears are sprung-mounted, to cause tension to pull them into the main gear.
I understand.
You actually, like you do on your Lasmandi, right? You have a Lasmandi, so on that, yours probably doesn't have the spring-mounted gear.
It does not have spring.
I have a spring-mounted worm. So what you do is you do it like a spring-mounted worm type of style gear. And by doing the spring-mounted, you maintain tension against the primary gear, so they're always binding. And if you have good tolerances on your gear system, you don't have any play in the gears.
Yeah.
If the tolerances are good and they're spring-mounted, they actually stay meshed at always. So they have a bit of play, but the spring keeps them pushed against the central gear. So therefore, there'll be no give and take. Same as we do on telescopes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I'm thinking of designing it. If I go with the gear option. Yeah, I can hear you.
We can hear you okay, but you're really low.
Yeah. No, because why I have also power failure recovery going back onto the failed printer I have, but I can't use it with cellophane because otherwise I get a line in it.
Oh, yeah, because he's printing lithopanes.
Yeah,
so
because
even power
failure
failure
has to be done in one piece, in one. So it has to
go.
Especially with little panes. Yeah,
you can throw it away.
Then you need a UPS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way, then it would actually. Yeah,
Or if
that's the way to
you
cure it.
or if you really want to be technical, you could build yourself your own battery and just have it run off the battery for 24 hours, depending on
Well,
how much wattage you require.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah.
think
That's
UPS would be
basically what it.
better.
A UPS would actually take care of it for you. So you just need a UPS.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to do that than building your own battery anyway. All right, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up. I know because it's almost 11 o'clock here, and
I finally
I've been
get
up
on and I'm
since.
gone.
Run
See,
your
you
own live
scared us
stream.
off. You read us off, man.
Ah,
You need to
gee.
come on earlier. I start at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Well, it was more of I had 8 things going on around here because Wednesday nights are my most busiest night. I got my amateur radio team that I have to talk to and find out what's going on with the club. I got my other stuff that goes on another net that I got to follow. So, yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is everyone else is more important than me. That hurts.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that completely, but hey, that's how you feel, I guess.
He goes right for the
Um,
jugular.
Oh, well, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. All right, guys. Well, it was
Bye,
fun.
everybody.
Um,
Nice to see
you,
all. Nice to
Matt,
meet
you need to get some sleep,
again. Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
He's up here
It's
now.
It's almost 4 a.m. in the morning for you. This guy is crazy. He spends all night long. This guy over here.
Yeah.
He spends all night long up chatting and online.
You never
And
met
printing.
Viking. 3D printing Viking.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
usually on all hours of the day. Like, I mean,
Then
if I
invite
start
him
a
over
stream at
here.
like, hey, if I start a stream at like 2 o'clock in the morning, he'll jump on because that's his. He lives in Norway. But if we start a stream at like 8 o'clock
Oh, I
in
know
the
him. I
evening,
know him.
he'll
I
be
know
back
him.
on. It's like crazy.
I know him. Actually, ping him and tell him to come join ours. Do.
I think he's on the Wart Cockies stream right now.
Yeah, but tell him to come and join ours at some time, or Hangouts or whatever, and he can join in because I do watch his stuff. He's funny. I like the big printer, the big enclosure he printed recently. He made recently.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
had so many
it's
problems
beautiful.
with that. Yeah, but he's had so many problems. I saw him fry boards and everything on his streams.
Never mind. Who is it? Timothy Hoogland. He's helping him out a little bit. He's
Well,
gonna
Tim-
help him with programming the board and getting it working right.
Well,
They don't
Tim,
blow another board.
on the 10th of next month, I don't have a. I'm not actually doing an official stream tomorrow because it's Thanksgiving here in the US. So on the 10th of next month at 8 p.m. in the evening Eastern, I'm doing an online chat with Tim about him and about how he started off his company and all this kind of stuff. So I do them on a Thursday, and tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so there's none tomorrow. But the following week I have IC3D, which is a US based company for filament and stuff. And then the week after I have Tim Hoogland coming on to talk about him and his company. So that's
I mean,
kind
that's IC3D company.
Yeah. See,
Yep.
Ron's got everything already.
You see, I don't. Yeah, see, here's the problem there. That spool is too small because I buy PETG in 2.5 kilo spools.
What you gotta do is you gotta get these guys on Forma Future.
Who are they?
They're a Netherlands company that produces TPEG. What's interesting about their TPEG that I've used so far is it doesn't require the crazy temperatures of like 245. I've been able to print this at 230. I've been able to
I
print
want
this at
some.
225.
TPEG?
PTEG.
Oh, PETG.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. So you said TPEG, and I went, what
Whoa.
material is TPEG? I've never heard of that before.
Sorry, my mistake.
PETG, but spelled incorrectly.
It's a flexible PETG with TPU combined.
That's what those
you
dual
send me-
There's
computers.
something to come up with.
Send me their information. You can ping me on you follow me on Facebook, do you?
No, I don't.
Ping. I'm on Facebook. My page.
He's like, no, I don't. At this point, he's given up. He's given up the
Yeah,
nice.
go
niceties.
to
Well, no, I kind of given up on Facebook. I got hacked a few weeks back,
okay. Well,
and I
look,
haven't got.
here
and they
is
haven't
my.
fixed it, so
Let me
Talking
post
about
on in
hacking.
private chat. On private chat, I'm going to give you my email address. Okay.
okay.
I know I've been people trying to hack me like crazy in the last few weeks, and I've been trying to change my passwords almost every daily.
Okay, you get it? It's in private chat, Ron?
Yeah, I'm just copying it right now.
Okay, so send me his contact information, or even message him. I like, and we should try and get him onto our streams. I'm on Facebook and YouTube. I'm on in there as AstroPrinter. You see the logo in the upper right hand corner over here, right in Matt's stuck to Matt's ceiling.
Yep.
See, Matt's is such a big fan. He even has my logo on his ceiling. But send him a message. I'd like to we should chat with him, like get him to come into our hangouts. It'd be fun. We talk. I know he does a lot of cool projects. I do some unusual stuff, but he does really. His stuff is all about 3D printing, and he does a lot of really good streams. It'd be good just to hang out with him and get him to join in and follow and spread the word about us. But like this is like we're starting off a good group here. It's a new group, but it's a good group. Like now that we have Ron joining us all most of the time, like for last week and this week, and he's going to become a regular, aren't you, Ron? You're being a regular,
I
right?
don't know. I don't know.
You want me to make fun of you again? But look, Ron, I'm an Irishman. There's no holes barred. Remember, I don't pull my punches.
Hey, I'm half Irish also, so don't worry about it, man.
I'm 1/4, if that matters.
My half is
So your right leg is you're 1/4. So that means
if that
it's your
matters.
right. Sorry.
I'm
What did you say,
not
man?
Irish, if that matters. I'm German.
No, it doesn't matter. But I'm saying Graham said he's 1/4 Irish, so it must be his right leg. But no, we should try and drive more of the big makers out there in here, because we have fun. We talk about stuff. It's like there are lots of hangouts that are well developed, but there's a lot of good ones that are like, I think ours is a good hangout. That we're just starting out. We have a good laugh. We make fun of each other, and we're some of us are nerds, right? Like this guy down here, he's a nerd. The guy over here.
I'm assuming you're talking to me because that's where you're pointing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's why I went this way.
No, I know he's a nerd. Trust me, I know him. He's a nerd.
Yeah, they're all.
Yeah,
I mean, I used to do stargazing when I was young, so you know.
Okay.
Now I have to play with electronics and do radio
yeah, well,
things.
I don't do as much with electronics. I do some with electronics, like with the pies and stuff. But like, I'm more I'm big into the science as well as doing astronomy, like Graham does. I'm really into the sciences. So like I do physics presentations and demonstrations and all this kind of stuff that I make myself. That are real physics, and there's math behind it. And I don't go into the math because people get bored of the math, but I show them how it's cool, how physics is cool. Like I have a really cool one. I have to do a recording of it someday, and maybe I'll set up my garage and do it. I have what's called a Rubens tube. Do you know what that is?
No.
It sounds familiar, but
It sounds like
I can make
sure on the
but it's clearly
physics.
not.
Well, a Rubens tube is a tube that you fill with gas, propane gas,
Okay.
and you set it alight so it looks like a grill.
Okay.
But then you set up the tube in a way that the gas acts. One end of the tube acts like a diaphragm, and you play music into the diaphragm, and you make the flames dance and move to the music.
Okay.
And you can actually do it to the way that if you do a single tone, a fixed tone from a speaker, the gas will actually, the flames will actually take on the shape of a sine wave.
Ooh.
Oh,
And as you
interesting.
change the tone, the sine wave will change based on the frequency of the gas. So you could actually use it if you measured that, if you took a few measurements of the height of the flame and the tone, and you correlated them, you could actually use the height of the flame and the wavelength of the wave in the flame to tell you the exact frequency of the sound you're listening to.
So a 1
Do a
kilohertz
similar
wave
thing
would show you the 1 kilohertz.
It will show you the wavelength of it, and then
Interesting.
but when you play music through it, which is a whole series of different frequencies,
Mhm.
the flames dance to the music based on the frequencies of the music. So piano, you see it popping up and down with the right keys of the piano. You play rock music, when you're going really hard rock, you see the flames suddenly jump really high, dancing in beat with the music.
Hmm.
That's
It's a really
similar
cool
Tesla
thing.
coil.
Tesla coil is different. A Tesla coil uses electricity, and
Yeah.
it uses static
But
electricity. But
it does the same thing with the. it
you
does
can
wave
to a
too, which
point.
is the-
Yeah, you can to a point, but this is different because this actually represents the wave, the actually sound, the shape of the sound wave in fire.
Alright.
hmm
Wow.
I'll have to record it and I'll record it someday and show it to you. I have one. The one I built is in my garage. I just need to set it up somewhere. Maybe I'll set it up in my garage over the weekend or something like that and set up and record it.
I think that'd be a
I've
good
seen
video to put
also-
on the channel.
That
Put
would
on your
be
channel. I
kinda
mean, physics has a lot to do with 3D printing in the whole sense too.
It
because,
does. Yeah,
You know,
it
the
does.
kinetics of 3D printing and how the movements are
Well,
do kind of
I
relate to that.
well, I've had conversations with manufacturers who build like there's people out there who extend the z-axis.
Mhm.
Now, that's fine, but I have an issue if you extend the z-axis over a certain height, and then you put spool holders on top of that. You're
Mhm.
adding a lot of weight on top of something that is yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So what you're going to get is when the y-axis is moving, it's shaking the printer, and what's
Yeah.
going to happen is the z-axis is going to do this. It may not do it that much, but it's going to wobble, and that's introducing um, uh,
Play.
unwanted artifacts on your print. So
Yeah.
if you're going to go
especially on
tall,
lithophane.
yeah, especially on lithophane, right? Because in the case of a lithophane, the lithophane itself wobbles with the y-axis moving forward and back. So
Yeah.
what you need to do with a lithophane is turn a lithophane so it's actually the lengthways along the y, because the x-axis doesn't move, right? So there's no moving this way. And we're having the lengthway along, and you print this way on the lithophane. What's happening is it's moving this way,
Yeah.
so there's less ability for it to flex. Whereas if
Yep.
you do it this way, it's actually
It's just
and
a
the
giant
y is
scale.
moving. This is
Yeah.
going to wobble,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Or you put an
Lithophane
or you put a
around
frame on it.
printers.
Sorry.
The best lithophane to print and safe to print around lithophane fixtures. Like
Okay, so round lithophane can add in two artifacts actually. It can add what's known as ringing, which can actually cause your image to look blurry. The other aspect that you're adding into this is you're going to add in, like you said, with the x-axis, because you're actually forcing your printer to go start here, go round, force back, go round again. So what you're doing is you're actually causing a start and stop situation, which can actually cause even more stability in a print.
Well,
You mean
to
if
a
it's
point.
Unless-
changes direction?
Slow,
Yes.
really
Yeah,
slow.
mattering on how it's written it, because I've seen this happen before. If the lithophane is not written properly, like it should be in a vase mode, it will do that. I've
Well,
seen
you
printers
can't do
do it.
lithophane in the vase mode. Lithophane's 100% infill.
Exactly, but I have seen it
What it
where
means
it
is that
actually
it's
gets
a single
confused.
pattern rather than going like, sorry, let's do it this way. What he's talking about is if you're looking from the top, it's printing your circle like this and not printing your circle like this.
Well,
Some
that
people
depends
that's
on
what
your.
they do, and it'll create a giant Z line and cause a lot of issues.
Well, there's ways around that too by
Mhm.
staggering your Z seam,
Yeah.
and then each layer will be in a different spot. So you actually, but I don't think round is as bad because ringing is actually a cause of something loose. If you get ringing, you don't get ringing because of this. Ringing is caused by something loose, and when it actually comes up to a stop, there's a slight vibration, and the belts are not tight. So by
Mhm.
tightening up all your belts, you eliminate ringing in most cases. I think printing flat lithophanes or slightly curved lithophanes, you introduce the wobble effect if it's this way on Y and Y is moving forward and backwards, then it's
Yeah.
going to wobble. Unless you build an A-frame at the side of it to steady it. Now, which you can do with most of those lithophane tools out there to build lithophanes for you. But if you're doing a flat straight lithophane, and you're on Y, what you're doing is you're going to move the Y bed this way, so there's none of this because
Exactly.
it's moving the length of it, and then all that's moving is your head. Now, your head can introduce a bit of a wobble in that too. There is a slight chance that the head can introduce a wobble. So, to eliminate it, the best way is to put an A-frame lightly attached on each end of your lithophane,
Mhm.
So it actually stops this from happening.
Okay.
Your lithophane here, and stuck to the end of it. So that's your lithophane. Stuck to the end of it, you have an A-frame here,
Mhm.
only barely touching it, just touching it. Then this wobble goes away because the A-frame is stopping it from happening. That's how you eliminate lithophanes from playing up. And slow down your prints, because speed is your enemy when it comes to quality. And especially on something that's narrow, because any vibration will get accelerated and get amplified on something narrow, because it actually vibrates more than a thicker part. Because the
Yeah,
thicker part will absorb more sound,
I've
absorb more
done.
frequency.
Now I usually do with lithophane, like you said, I slow down the speed. I usually do them at least 30. I would not go above 30 on most of my printers. Because I find if I go any faster, you introduce
30 millimeters a second on lithophanes, or for everything?
30 millimeters just for lithophanes only.
I don't even go that slow with this thing. I go 40.
No, we use 30 or 40 is okay. Then no, 30 or 40 is all right. Don't go over 40, because you will introduce vibration
Yeah.
and wobble. Now, for normal prints, 50 to 60 for PLA is normal. For PETG, my normal would be 15 millimeters per second, or maybe 20 on the first layer or first two layers, and then I'd go up to 40 on all the rest of my PETG prints. PETG does not like fast printing.
Yeah.
It really despises it, and you want to keep it, lay it down, and with as little fan speed as possible. Unless you have overhang or bridging, if you have no overhangs and no bridging, print PETG with no fan at all. It gives you the best layer adhesion, because PETG cools slowly, and it likes to be able to sit there and really mesh and stick to the next layer. If you have a cooling fan on at 100%, your part will be like a sponge. You'll actually break up in your hands.
Yeah,
A fan at 30% would be the maximum I'd ever set on PETG, ever.
I try to keep my fan off at most cases when printing with PTEG, unless I'm printing a vase. Then I'll set it at 20%, I think is all.
No,
I
I
do.
print vase mode with no fan.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
I just had I've had the issue with stringing before.
I get PETG prints with zero strings, zero. By the way, that company you said that is in Norway.
Yeah.
Email me their details as well. So I want to reach out to those guys, because like if they're new and they're fresh, and they want to get some word
Well,
out around.
They've been out for a very long time.
I haven't heard of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because they make they've been making filament for a little while. This stuff was very expensive when they first came out. I picked this up, I think it was like $65 Canadian. It was outrageously high.
Wow.
Yeah. But their prices have come down big time, which is good. But what I really liked about this stuff is this stuff has been it's a clear white, like it's with their HD glass brand. So I was looking for like a glass brand to see what was different about it. And when I got this stuff, it's almost like a frosty white. So to give you an idea, yeah.
Oh, I understood that part.
Okay.
That was the most I could understand. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like looking through a frosted mirror, a frosted window.
Okay.
I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You live up north. You greatly have seen that. When you get up in the morning, you turn on your car, you turn on, and all you see is frost.
Mm-hmm.
That type of white is what this.
That's actually that's nice for a vase. That's nice for a lot of things.
Another company I would look at
is
working.
Matt can't hear us. Can you hear us?
Yeah, it's working now.
Okay.
Now.
I don't think it's the headphones. I think it's Matt has a problem.
Too much static in my head. I know.
This red I picked up from.
Oh, that's a very deep blood, purpley red, isn't it?
It's a bright red. This camera does not do it justice.
It looks dark.
It does look a little dark, but I'm telling you, you shine in the right light, it looks the red just burn. It's just a gorgeous red.
It looks more like a more of a purpley type of.
Like I said, the camera on my computer does not do it justice. I also used it on this one right here. This is my Pi Star. That gives you a better idea of the red color in it. This stuff is from Coex Filament. They're out in Indiana. They're another company that you might want to look at too.
Yeah, send me the information on those too, because I'm in Michigan, so they're really close to me.
Yeah, so you're in Michigan. So you've probably been to Murph, right?
No,
You've never been to Murph.
no.
You need to go to
Great.
Murph. Trust me. Murph is otherwise known as the Midwest Rap Festival.
Oh yeah, rep. Okay. Well, I haven't been to them. The reason why is, getting time 4 days off to go to one of these things is hard. Because my job is global, and so I'm always on call. I'm always well, not really on call, but I'm always busy, crazy, stupid, ridiculously busy. So I had planned to go to this year's one. I had tickets to go to this year's one, and this year
Why
whole
didn't
year
you
was
go?
cancelled. Yeah, because it was all cancelled because of COVID, so everything was shut
Yeah.
down.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
when they open it up, I will go again. I will go, but it's time is always a struggle for me. Getting time off.
Yeah. Well, I can
Um,
understand that. Like
Like I
personally,
recorded lots of videos today. I had to take a day off work to get my stuff done.
jeez.
And I have printers. I have a printer coming in next week for review. I have probably a CNC coming in. I have a second printer coming in December, early December, mid December. I may have a laser engraver coming in December. I may have an additional CNC coming in December. Like this is what I have lined up. Then that's only for the next 6 weeks.
I'll give you enough content to produce.
Yeah.
Well, but I still need to get my other interviews as well, because I have to do these live stuff as well. Like I like the Hangouts, but I also like the live stuff with the companies that I've been doing. Have you seen some of those?
I haven't been able to watch them yet. That's only because of other little
I
things.
am. No, I was just
no,
wondering.
it's
taken
just
care
because
of,
he
yeah.
hates you. That's why.
I know he just
Yeah,
hates me. It's fine.
Just hate you for a passion.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's just because he's Canadian.
Whoa,
You're
you
Canadian.
better watch it. You're outnumbered, man.
Yeah, you got two Canadians here.
I knew. That's why I
Canada is
said
well
it, right?
represented here.
The
I
only
know. That's
reason
why I
he's
said
saying
it.
that now is because the border's closed. He knows we can't go after him yet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm safe. See, if I can't
Or
make
you know
fun
the
of him,
border
you
will
know.
not be closed forever. I mean,
Yeah. Well, see,
could
we
isolate
have
Canada.
we have two Canadians, and we have a German, and then you have the Paddy here, the Irish guy. Talk about an international group, man.
Yeah, well, anyways, I'm happy I could be on, for the time being, but I gotta get going. I got some other stuff. That
Same
needs to-
here. But drop me those links. Drop me those contacts with those guys. You go to you over here. Go to
Man,
sleep.
right here.
Yeah, he go to sleep, and you down there. It's you're in the same time zone as me, so you're on the.
So is he.
No, I'm Eastern.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what he
he's
said,
east.
Eastern.
Where are
Yeah.
you, Ron?
I'm in Eastern Ontario.
What part
Oh,
of Eastern
okay.
Ontario.
So you're both in the same time zone as me.
I'm in the Eastern time zone, and I'm just near Kingston. So a little.
He's
bit
not
more
that far
east.
away from where I live.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's about maybe a 4
Well,
hour drive, I think it would be.
Well, you're what, Waterloo?
Yeah, so
Yeah, so 4 hour drive, give or take.
Yeah. not that far.
Yeah,
I mean, I
take
drive all the way up to Deep
three
River.
three
every
hours.
year,
You take
so
416. So
that's 6.5 hours.
yeah, that's a long drive.
Let's see. See, well, you're all about 5 hours from me either way. So,
There you go.
all right, guys. Until next week, we'll be doing the same hangout at 8 o'clock. Come in, join, hang out. Don't forget, like, click, subscribe, so you know when I go live, when I publish stuff on YouTube. And I'm on Facebook. If you find me on Facebook as AstroPrinter, like the
Mhm.
page there and follow, so we can do some stuff there. Now and again I do stuff exclusively on Facebook. Now and again I do stuff exclusively on YouTube, but not very often. I try and do all the social media at the same time, but now and again stuff happens, Like StreamYard has a conniption and decides to not stream to a source, which has happened just today. It didn't go out to Twitter today for some reason. It was in a bad mood. So it just, and if you come across guys who are interested in learning and joining in, spread the word. We need that. We'd like to build up the group to be a larger group. I'd like to have a full 10 people in here if at some point, and have people asking questions. It'd be nice to get to that level and then switch people around.
Just FYI, the next couple of days things are going to be a little loopy. Apparently, was it Amazon Web Services has been having a very bad day, and they
In
support
Canada?
a lot of. Well, no, it's Western America. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but apparently one of their database servers was basically dropping people all over the place, and AWS is underlying so much stuff that it wouldn't be surprised if a lot of things have problems over the next couple of days as people jump online for the Black Box or Black Friday.
Black Friday, yeah.
Yeah, because they'll take down websites and stuff like that. Because it's like we can't storm the stores, so let's storm the websites instead.
Well, yeah, and I'm Eastern, so it should be fine over here because they have a separate data center on this side of the country.
They do, but don't like.
Yeah,
don't be surprised if things go down.
I'm not a shopaholic. I'm not a shopaholic.
I am trying not to spend money this year.
No, see, the thing about me is
okay. That's gonna be hard.
I have a permanent hole in my pocket, so nothing stays in there. So there's no point in ever trying to put stuff in there. So I don't even. So I've never have anything to spend. So that hole in my pocket, everything falls into your mortgage and into everything else. So.
Well, my problem is I know that my filament company that I love using is doing a massive sale. And they sent me an email saying, "Hey, all our stuff is about 30 to 40% off, so you might want to buy." It's like,
share it with us.
Is this the filament company that you got that other filament from that's exclusive to Canada?
Oh, filament stuff. Yep.
Yeah. I'm waiting for it. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying not to spend money. I'm waiting for that to drop, Ron. I'm waiting for it to drop, and I'm be like, I'm buying my TPU, I'm buying my PETG, I'm buying my Nozzle X.
And Ron, you're going to share that information with the rest of us, correct? That are on here.
Well, if you want to look at their website, it's filaments.ca. They do ship to the US. I believe it's you got to spend $200 Canadian.
Yeah.
Now this is a Canadian, so you got to remember your American money is 1.35. So you guys get a better conversion rate when you buy it from them. And if you spend enough money, free shipping. So I would recommend check them out. A lot of their filaments going to go on sale, and it's just going to be a madhouse of buy.
And when are they going tomorrow? When are they going tomorrow?
Probably tomorrow. I heard they're going to run it for a couple of days, but yeah.
Stock's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I don't know how much of filament I'm going to have booked on my list to come into my house. That's the scary part.
I know I have at least I've sort of went and filled the cart already, Ron, so I can just wait and then hit the buy button. I'll check the main site to see if there's anything I specifically want, but otherwise I'll be like, okay, just scroll down. No, okay, go to the cart. Everything that's on sale, keep it. Click the button, and away we go.
Now, be warned that sometimes you'll see other filament brands, but that they sell will go on sale, not their house brand sometimes.
Yeah. No, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, so I picked up. I have a whole bunch of house brand stuff already, but yeah, I got to pick up more.
Well, I want to try out the recycled stuff, so it should be interesting.
All right, I went to their website, so I'll have a look later on or tomorrow. But it's 11 o'clock. It's after 11. It's 11:15. So good night. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and I'll be on again next Wednesday. I'll see you all soon. Okay.
All right.
Bye. Take care.
Waving until the stream stops.
Okay, and
anytime.
Broadcast now.